to work toward making this city safe.
We can't be shy about speaking on things such as faith and politics. We have to remember, in a free society, the public square belongs to all of us.
I'm not interested in North Florida looking like Orlando or Miami. I love where we live, but I think that good jobs means that people that live in this district can stay in this district.
Fishing and hunting is funding a large part of your conservation projects in Florida, and we want to make sure that those are forever preserved.
And the problem with this industry at this point is that they actually target our youth. You can see it in their marketing strategies where it's bright colors, fun names.
And that's going to be endlessly litigated.
Florida's Voice with Drew Steele.
Hey, it's Drew Steele. Look, are you still playing defense with your money? Now might be the perfect time to go on offense and seize the opportunities presented by the new pro-business environment ushered in by President Trump and his administration. That's exactly what certified financial planner professional Alfie Townsend and his team at Advantage Retirement Group do for high net worth investors like you. They create strategies designed to help manage taxes, control risks, and boost your financial confidence. It's a forward-thinking approach that can strengthen your foundation so you can enjoy the lifestyle you've worked so hard to achieve. If you're ready to see how Alfie's team can help elevate your plan, call or text VISIT to 239-747-7470. Again, text VISIT to 239-747-7470. Schedule your one-on-one consultation today and discover proactive strategies to help you thrive in an ever-changing world. Again, text VISIT to 239-747-7470. Don't wait. Let Alfie Townsend and the Advantage Retirement Group team guide you toward a stronger, more confident financial future.
I've been dipping snuff for well over 30 years. You know, I could wake up in the morning and have a weird lump in my gums. Guess it's like playing Russian roulette, really. I would love grandchildren. And if by quitting it extends my life some, I would gladly lay it down.
Visit tobaccofreeflorida.com to find free resources to help you quit your way.
Today, push harder, push forward, push vigorously.
There are things that I am hiding from people that I'm trying to inspire.
You can do whatever you set your mind to.
I feel like a hypocrite a lot of the times.
Don't give up on yourself ever.
Smoking, I hide it because I'm ashamed of it. I want to get out of the shadow. I want to show people there is light away from the darkness. I am going to quit.
Visit tobaccofreeflorida.com to find free resources to help you quit your way.
We're with Bridget, whose husband won't be home for months and whose daughter is due any day. We're with Mike, who's leaving home to protect his family and yours. We're with all service members and their families who need community, connection, and maybe a bit of magic. Are you with them? Learn more at uso.org today. We're with Liam after his 4th military move, when being new is starting to get old. We're with Tara during the holidays, when she misses home the most. We're with all service members and their families who need connection, comfort, and a home away from home. Are you with them? Learn more at uso.org today.
Hey, it's Drew Steele, and you know I love the Floor Meisters in Naples. Locally family-owned business, 3 generations of Meisters. Listen, what are you looking for? Carpet, tile, hardwood, Core-Tech? Maybe that's what you're looking for. And why don't we talk to TJ Meister right now of the Floor Meisters and find out what's going on with Core-Tech. What's up, TJ?
Well, we're just keeping up with the demand for Core-Tech. Just had to order a truck and bring it in from the west coast of the United States to keep up with all the needs and wants of the people of Southwest Florida. Somebody doesn't have it, give me a call. I probably do.
I tell you, I love my Core-Tech floor. People love it. What is it about it that makes it so awesome?
Well, it's waterproof, kid-proof, pet-proof. So if you got a pool, no problem. If you got a dog, no problem. If you got a husband that spills, no problem.
Floor Meisters, that's who I trust, and you should as well. 6281 Naples Boulevard in Naples. 239-596-4964 for the Floor Meisters.
Let's see, if something costs less, a lot less, but people are actually happier with it, that sounds like something to look into, and that's MetaShare. Maybe you've heard joining MediShare can save you or your family up to $500 a month, and that's huge, but it's also true. People are just happier with it. They love being part of something that reflects and promotes their values and what they believe in. MediShare works, too. It's been around for 30 years now, and members have shared more than $7 billion of each other's bills. People love having telehealth and a huge nationwide PPO network, so yeah, really, you can save a ton and like it better. Imagine being happy with how you're taking care of your health care, whether you're self-employed or part of the gig economy, or you just want a plan that you're happy with. Here you go. You can call right now and get a price within 2 minutes. A very, very smart use of 2 minutes. Here's the number you need. It's 855-SHARE-40. 855-SHARE 40. 855-SHARE-40.
Thank you for waking us all up out here, for all you do.
Thank you for giving us the voice.
For being out there helping to keep the constitutional republic. I want to thank you for your support for veterans in the military. Educating us. Standing up for conservatism. Giving us the truth.
Florida's Voice with Drew Steele.
Well, hey, everybody. So glad you're joining us today on Florida's Voice. My name is Drew Steele. Big D on the other side of the glass. You got Nina in the breaking newsroom and you hanging out with us at FL Voice News, YouTube, Rumble, X, and Facebook. Also, anytime you want to check out the podcast or listen at your convenience, you can go to my personal website, drewsteele.com. Steele has 3 E's, and right there you can see the podcast and you can listen whenever you would like, 24/7, 365, 1 million. I just threw a million in there because, I don't know, D, sometimes you say a million and people get all excited, like a million. What does that mean?
Infinity.
Right. Well, I don't want to get carried away. I mean, if I said infinity, that would be really ridiculous. But million is like, that's really cool. Somebody said to me today, I was having a conversation about the one big beautiful bill and what we're going to be doing and not doing, and how some even in the House, Thomas Massey is like, I got 10 people caucused already that are like, yeah, we're not doing this. That would just put everything into defeat. And a lot of negotiations going on in some of the circus, the clown show that is the left on Capitol Hill and some of what they've been doing. Yeah, we'll get to that in just a second. But I was talking to somebody about the monies and trillions of dollars and debts and deficits. And do you know how many billions are in a trillion? How many billions are in a trillion? Go ahead and go to Al Gore's famous interwebs, the universe that was created by Al Gore, and we are so grateful to him. Said nobody ever. Well, some people do, because they really think that we're dead right now, because he told us 20 years ago that we only had 10 years to live. So apparently we're just like ghosts roaming the planet. D, how many billions are in a trillion?
1,000.
Yep. Think about that. And then think about multiple trillions. And think about 30 trillion. Think of $1 trillion as being just the interest we pay on the debt. That's 1,000 billions. And I'm going to say something bold and maybe controversial, but I'll say it anyway because it's my show. But D, you're included in this. Do you think people care? Do you think people can wrap their head around those numbers anymore? Do you think that we've thrown out trillions and billions and millions so many times that people are just like, I don't know what it means. Like, just don't have any. Yep. Right? They're out. They're checked out of a lot of not the process. Well, yeah, kind of the process. But just get us to where we need to be. What does that even look like? For example, you have the Speaker of the House, who just a little while ago, if I'm not mistaken, let me see if I can find that audio. The Speaker of the House who's feeling pretty good about everything. And, he's like, yeah, we're going to get there. We're good. He feels like, well, let's see if I can pull up this audio. This was just a little while ago, Capitol Hill, and he says...
Hey, everybody, I guess you want a progress report?
Yeah, we want a progress report.
We are working through everybody's issues and making sure that we can secure this vote. I feel very positive about the progress. We've had lots of great conversations. I've met with individuals and groups all day long, as has the president, who's fully engaged as well, trying to convince everybody this is the very best product that we can produce. But I feel good about where we are and where we're headed, and stay tuned. There's more conversations to be had.
Yeah, stay tuned. There's more conversations to be had with the One Big Beautiful Show. Sorry, wait, the One Big Beautiful Bill Show. That's probably better, D, because you can't say the One Big Beautiful Show because it's one big beautiful bill show. Then we might confuse people, and I don't want to do that. So that's Speaker Mike Johnson. Yeah, we're getting there. We're talking to different people. Depends on who you're talking to, because there are some people that are this thing is awful. It's terrible. It's the worst thing since sliced bread. And to be quite honest, sliced bread is actually really good. It's not always a good thing. Sometimes you just want to rip the piece off of bread and put it there in your mouth. So here's one Democrat representative who's not very happy.
Do they even care? Every yes vote shows very clearly that they don't.
Okay, so that's Representative McBride. He's named Sarah, a Democrat of Delaware.
This bill is trickle-down cruelty.
Trickle-down cruelty? Oh, that's a new one for us, everybody. Trickle-down cruelty. I get it. You're playing off of the... Hold on a second. Give it to me. Trickle-down cruelty. I see what you're doing there. Little Ronald Reagan trickle-down or whatever it is. And okay, I got you. Making fun of... and then you have... that's sort of like the one side that is going to be like this, and the one big beautiful bill, and it's going to be about it's one ugly bill, and it's terrible, and it's horrible, and okay, we get it, you hate it, and you're going to spin it every which way and lie about a lot of it, and we're going to play some of the spin and the lies coming up. And then you have the part that is literally, and I hate to use literally, but I'm using it in this case, the literal clown show that's going on Capitol Hill. It is just music and everything. And here you go, just a little bit of the clown show. The Democrats put out the Democrat Doctors Caucus. Did you know there was a Democratic Doctors Caucus? There they are. There's 5 of them. And we know they're doctors because they're wearing white coats. I mean, nobody. Do you know what a crime it would be? How illegal it is if somebody pulled a white coat off a costume rack someplace and said they were a doctor and had their name sewn on the jacket. Do you know what kind of crime that is? Oh, sorry, it's not really, is it? Because people do it all the time. But we're led to believe that these are the Democratic Doctors Caucus. And boy, I'll tell you what, they have a lot to say. So much so that it stops traffic in the halls of Congress right in front of Speaker Mike Johnson's office, as a matter of fact. You can see if you're watching at FL Voice News on YouTube, Rumble, X, and Facebook. If you look behind him, it says Speaker of the House, Mike Johnson, right in front of the office. And boy, they are getting attention. Look at this.
Are the Doctors Caucus. Democratic Doctors Caucus.
Now, for those that can't see, if you're not watching at FL Voice News on social media and you're listening to the sound of my voice on one of our great radio affiliates across the state of Florida, here's what's happening. Everybody's walking right by him. Not one single person is paying attention to him.
Have cared for the sickest patients.
So one of these Democratic doctors is reading off a piece of paper,
If someone was a Democrat.
and the people are just milling about.
In fact, that is never an
I'm sorry. Are there people talking next to us? I can't tell. I mean, it sounds like there's a woman. I think it's a woman. I'm not really sure.
Please
I know.
do not use gendered language
I got it.
to address everyone.
I mean, you never know. You have to be sure these days. When you can't be sure these days. So sometimes it's a scary thing how you can't be sure these days. It's weird. But anyway, the point is that there's someone with a clipboard or a bunch of pieces of paper wearing what looks like an official doctor's outfit, and they're saying some things, and the people are walking by like, yeah, well, whatever. Are you the Democratic doctors? Okay, yeah, don't want to listen because I know what kind of ill you spew. Oh, see what I did there? The ill you spew, you get it? It's like ill, like sickness. And okay. And there was a time when Democrats actually said things that Republicans are saying right now. The idea of welfare work requirements. There are people that are saying, working for welfare or working for Medicaid. How dare you do that? Who would make such a suggestion? Nobody would do that on the Democrat side.
Nearly 30 years ago, Robert Kennedy said, work is the meaning of what this country is all about. We need it as individuals. We need to sense it in our fellow citizens. And we need it as a society and as a people. He was right then. And it's right now.
And that's kind of funny. That was back in 1996. And thanks to Tom Elliott, the great Tom Elliott, at Grabien, does an amazing job with these video clips, and that's from Grabien 1996. That's Bill Clinton. That's the other Clinton. You know.
I am sick and tired.
Not that one, the other one. And that's Bill Clinton, who once upon a time in a galaxy far, far away, it must have been, he was championing the welfare work requirement. And it's the one thing that everybody is snapping a gasket. I don't know. Some people say snapping a gasket, freaking out over in the one big beautiful bill. And that's the thing that Democrats used to support. I wonder if there were a lot of Democrats that thought they should support that. And all of a sudden, Trump decided that might be something, and Republicans might be something that we would like to see happening as well. And they're all like, no, we can't have that because, orange man bad, TDS syndrome, that kind of stuff. All right, we'll get to more of this coming up in just a bit because there's a lot of audio on Capitol Hill. Tim Burchett is a representative. He had an interesting exchange with his constituents. He usually has his phone about him, and as he's walking around the halls of Congress and he's keeping his constituents updated, funny things happen along the way. Tim Burchett, you've probably seen a couple of times. He gets these viral videos when he gets onto CNN, and I've got one of those coming up. So we'll get to that in just a bit. All right, let's find out what else is going on here in the state of Florida, here on Florida's Voice. All right, so from what I understand, there is a lot happening with Jason Gonzalez, Lawson, Huck, and Gonzalez. You've seen Jason on the program with us many times, and we enjoy having him on once again. He's joining us here on Florida's Voice because, look at this, named General Counsel to the Florida Chamber of Commerce. Hello, everybody. Well, this is good news. First of all, congratulations. How are you, sir?
I'm great. Good to see you, Drew.
Obviously, you're great. Things are going well. Talk a little bit about this.
Yeah, I've been working with the Florida Chamber of Commerce for about 20 years on trying to improve our civil justice system. And they needed a new general counsel, and we're willing to have somebody as an outside general counsel at a law firm. So it was just a perfect fit. And Mark Wilson, the president, a lot of people don't realize we in Florida have had the best state chamber of commerce in the country. Mark is extraordinary and does so much to really improve the climate for businesses, job creators, and for families. Everybody in the state benefits when we have a really healthy business environment because they're jobs, and because when we have a good civil justice environment, everything costs less. Right. So we all, not just insurance, every good and service costs less when you have a healthy civil justice system with no lawsuit abuse.
Sure. Well, for those that don't know, they hear the Chamber of Commerce all the time, and maybe there's folks that are listening that don't even know what it is the Florida Chamber does. So maybe you can tell us a little bit about that.
Right. And, you have local city chambers all over the state, and they all work together with the state Chamber of Commerce. But it's so important in a state this size that's leading the nation in all these important reforms. We have a great state Chamber of Commerce. They do a bunch of really important events throughout the year. And then just their advocacy with the legislature, with the governor, has been critical to a lot of the tort reforms, civil justice reforms we've gotten. And just this past week, we had the governor vetoing a very important veto of some really bad legislation that would have expanded wrongful death cases in very unhealthy ways, in something that we had done away with a long time ago, where you had maybe adult children of somebody, maybe a 73-year-old adult child of a 90-year-old being allowed to bring their own claim in some of these lawsuits over the death of an aging parent. And somebody tried to add that in there. The governor fortunately vetoed it. But on that kind of issue, it's so important to have the Chamber of Commerce making sure that we don't have liability expanding in ways the billboard attorneys are gonna really jump at chances to bring frivolous lawsuits, because in Florida we have the highest physician insurance rates in the whole country. And we literally have examples of physicians in Florida that wake up on Monday morning and fly to Texas to have their medical practice out of state because the insurance rates are so ridiculous. And a lot of the examples we have of that are obstetricians because the abuses in the lawsuits. So it's so critically important to have these reforms. And this was one where this will keep those rates down. We don't want to lose physicians. That's not a good thing for a growing state like ours.
Yeah, I think we've had this conversation before about how I have some family members who would sometimes walk me into the office and show me the different doors in the office there in the private practice, and they would point at the different doors and say, how many doctors do you think are in here? And I'm looking at all the doors, and they would say, yeah, see all those doors? That's administrative doors. Those are all the things that we have to do. That door is the one door that I have a doctor in right now. Like there are more people in the office that have to do administrative work than actually help people.
That's right. And all the unnecessary tests that they do that cost more money because they're afraid of a lawsuit.
Yeah.
So they're doing all this additional unnecessary things rather than just treat the illness or the preventative care. So yeah, that's critically important. And so we're grateful the chamber would entrust us with their most important issues just to be their lawyers. And they've been critical in helping support our work, getting really good judges and justices appointed in the state.
Sure.
That's changed everything for the better.
Yeah, no doubt. All right, Jason, before we go, let's talk about the law firm. What kind of big cases you got going on there? Lawson, Huck, Gonzalez, what's shaking?
Well, this week we filed a lawsuit against the city of Miami. And, most of the time we're on the government side, but this was something that came up in the last several weeks where the city commissioners down in Miami announced that they were considering passing an ordinance, which they did end up passing this past Thursday, that was going to cancel their election. These city commissioners' own election that was set for November, and they're going to postpone it. And reset it for November of the following year and change all their terms. Huh? Now, this is the kind of thing, you hear of this sort of thing in third world dictatorships like Venezuela and Cuba, Nicaragua, but there was immediate kind of shock that they thought they could do this. And they have a wrongful reading of some provisions of an antiquated 1885 Constitution in some statutes. And so Attorney General Uthmeier jumped in, thankfully, and issued an attorney general opinion saying, absolutely not. You cannot do this. This is America, and you don't have authority to do this. You would need, at the very least, a voter referendum that would move the election. You don't give yourself an additional year on your own terms. They did not heed the warning. He followed up with another letter, and the governor as well came in and spoke and said, do not do this. And they did it anyway on Thursday. So we filed a lawsuit on behalf of a mayoral candidate that was going to be running for election in November, Emilio Gonzalez. No relation to me, his, I guess, distant Florida Gonzalez cousin. But Emilio Gonzalez stepped up and said, yes, we need to do this. This is the right thing. So we filed that. We'll ask a judge for a hearing pretty soon to try to enjoin operation of this ordinance. And if the people want to vote in a referendum to move their election.
Yeah, that's one thing.
That's a totally different matter. This, right. We're a democratic republic, and we can do that. It's right to self-government, but we don't have elected officials extend their own term in office, postpone elections, suspend elections.
Right. All right, Jason, listen, always great to see you. All the best. God bless, and great work. And come back anytime, okay?
Thanks, Derek.
All right. Good to see you. That is Jason Gonzalez joining us there on Florida's Voice. We appreciate him hanging out with us for a few minutes. All right, a couple of things that are going on here at Florida's Voice. I wanted to check this out. Yeah, when the Democrats and the left and the media and all the same thing, all talk about how bad things are. It's awful. It's terrible. It's just going to get worse with the one big beautiful bill because, well, they say so. Well, this is kind of interesting. Here's CNN, who had to admit something that maybe they weren't too excited about admitting.
Egan joins me now. Give us some context here on what this report tells us about the economy and what...
Oh, look at this. June layoff announcements.
You're saying.
Well, Sarah, this report paints the picture of a jobs market that is holding up better than feared.
Wait. Holding up better than feared? What does that mean?
Layoff announcements skyrocketed earlier this year, but thankfully they are coming back to earth. So Challenger Gray and Christmas found that in June there were about 48,000 layoff announcements. That is down sharply by 49% from May, and it is even a little bit lower, 2% lower than last June.
Would you look at that, everybody? Hold on. Hey. Isn't it nice? Even CNN every once in a while has to come around and admit that the number of layoffs has dropped by 49% due to the booming economy. Things are going so well right now that's not happening in a job market that's better than feared. That's pretty funny. It's a weird way of putting it. Better than feared? Like they fear that we would have a job market that's better than feared. Okay, I guess I think that makes sense. Anyway, it's CNN, so sometimes it's hard to make sense of it. Them. And then sometimes I come along too. I'll try to help. All right. One more thing before we go to break. I just wanted to play this clip because if you're wondering what kind of situation we have going on, not only on Capitol Hill, but even with different areas across the state. Here's a little bit of the audio from Key West as CBS News Miami was reporting on this yesterday. We talked about it yesterday. Check this out.
Public comment in Key West City Hall lasted nearly 2 hours. It was a 6-1 vote among those commissioners. Well, the resolution makes the immigration enforcement agreement with Key West PD, quote, void and unenforceable. WLRN reports it was put in place by the department's police chief, but not approved by the commissioners. Local police officers now, it gives them training and the authority by Customs and Immigration to enforce those federal immigration laws. It's important to note here, every sheriff's office in Florida has now signed this agreement.
Yeah, I wonder what's going to happen there, everybody. It's going to be interesting to see. That was yesterday. Key West Commission votes to void the ICE immigration enforcement agreement. You know, the Attorney General Lethmeyer was like, we're going to have a conversation about this, and we'll talk a little bit more about that coming up, because I wonder whether or not that is going to be the case. I wonder if they might change their mind. We'll see. All right. In the meantime, the heat and humidity and everything else going on during the summer here in the state of Florida doesn't change its mind ever. It's always, well, you know how it is. It's hot. And you got to have your air conditioning running right. That's why you ought to call Strata Air Conditioning and Heating. They're here when you need them most. You want to avoid those unexpected breakdowns. Maybe you just want to get a Strata AC tune-up. You want to keep that unit running efficiently that you have. Maybe the unexpected has happened and you're like, I don't know what to do now. Well, I do. You need to replace that older AC, and you need to get a hold of Strata Air Conditioning and Heating. 0% interest for 36 months with approved credit on any new energy-efficient Goodman system. Plus, you can shop with confidence. They have a $500 best price guarantee. It's great. Strata's committed to 5-star customer service, so why not check out the website, strataac.com. That's strataac.com. Schedule your appointment. You can get the text confirmation, the information on the tech. You can follow and track the tech's progress of making their way to your home. It's very, very cool. STRADAAC.com. That's STRADAAC.com. It's StrataAC.com. You oughta call Strata. License number CACO 43953. All right, we'll take a break, and when we come back, we will have top of the news. We'll have the latest from the Florida's Voice newsroom, and then we'll have more on Capitol Hill. Tim Burchett walking the streets of Capitol Hill with quite the message. He got called into Trump's office, oh boy. And even Byron Donalds, Congressman Byron Donalds was on the video as well. We're going to talk about that coming up.
You're listening to Florida's Voice with Drew Steele.
I'm Chris Jakimick. I served in the United States Air Force, and I deployed 3 times. Being a veteran, it's interwoven into your DNA, is really the absence of the connection and the purpose that can really drive a lot of veterans to some negative thoughts. For those who are in a suicidal crisis, the window of time to save somebody's life is very short. Our duty is to protect ourselves and protect our families, and one way you can do that is store your weapons safely. Store all your guns securely. Help stop suicide.
Brought to you by End Family Fire and the Ad Council.
Hey, it's Drew Steele, and I have to tell you, when my wife and I talked about getting new kitchen countertops for our house, we know who to call. Rock Solid Countertops and More, 2240 J&C Boulevard in Naples. And they have been absolutely amazing. Hugo and the team are the best. The workmanship has been absolutely incredible. The install was so easy. The process was perfect. Taking everything out, bringing the new stuff in. The quartz countertop is unbelievably beautiful, and my wife is super happy, I'll tell you. You know they have the best quality and selection of marble, quartz, granite, and a one-stop shop for all of your kitchen, outdoor, and bathroom needs. I've known it for years. I've lived in Southwest Florida 40 years. There was really only one place I was going to go. It's Rock Solid Countertops and More. I would suggest you give them a call, 596-7676. They're at 2240 J&C Boulevard in Naples. Find out what they can do for you. Countertops, cabinets, plantation shutters, they do it all. Rock Solid Countertops and More.
Let's see, if something costs less, a lot less, but people are actually happier with it, that sounds like something to look into, and that's MediShare. Maybe you've heard joining MediShare can save you or your family up to $500 a month, and that's huge, but it's also true. People are just happier with it. They love being part of something that reflects and promotes their values and what they believe in. MediShare works, too. It's been around for 30 years now, and members have shared more than $7 billion of each other's bills. People love having telehealth and a huge nationwide PPO network, so yeah, really, you can save a ton and like it better. Imagine being happy with how you're taking care of your health care, whether you're self-employed or part of the gig economy, or you just want a plan that you're happy with. Here you go. You can call right now and get a price within 2 minutes. A very, very smart use of 2 minutes. Here's the number you need. It's 855-SHARE-40. 855-SHARE 40. 855-SHARE-40. 855-SHARE-40.
Since the dawn of time, man and wildlife have shared a connection, and hunting traditions passed down from generation to generation have connected man to the natural world, from bow and arrow to hook and bullet. As man evolved, our link to those traditions remain with them forever. Yet today, our basic instinct to provide and as part of the hunt to conserve and appreciate the natural world has fallen under attack for the first time in human history. The misguided politicians and radical activists pushing an agenda to end hunting as we know it, or leading a war against our heritage and their misguided policies and protests. They demonize hunters and belittle our way of life, the results of hunters leaving the sport in droves, while our wildlife and ecosystems suffer the consequences as conservation funding dries up. Named after the father of the North American model for wildlife conservation, the International Order of T. Roosevelt is fighting in the arena to protect and expand the rights of hunters everywhere. We will fight back against these forces to make sure that every American has a right to hunt, enshrined in their state constitutions. We will educate the next generation in our traditions and seek to expand accessibility so that everyone can enjoy our pastimes. And we will continue to hold true to our namesake's efforts to protect, preserve, and ensure open access to our nation's wildlands. Teddy Roosevelt's vision for American conservation defines our modern hunting and conservation system, a system upheld by the idea that conservation efforts are crucial to our hunting way of life, and that hunters are crucial to successful conservation.
To some, the sound of a baby babbling doesn't mean much, but that's not true. They're testing out vowels and consonants and trying different sounds. And by 12 months, their babbling is beginning to take on meaning, especially if there's no babbling at all. Little to no babbling by 12 months or later is just one of the possible signs of autism in children. Learn more at autismspeaks.org.
Hey, it's Drew Steele. Look, are you still playing defense with your money? It's time to shift gears and seize the fresh opportunities this new pro-business environment has to offer. That's exactly what certified financial planner professional Alfie Townsend and the team at Advantage Retirement Group do for high net worth investors like you, helping you go on the offense with advanced tax strategies, thoughtful risk management, and forward-thinking financial planning. Imagine enjoying the retirement lifestyle you've worked so hard to achieve, all while staying one step ahead, and in a changing world, you've gotta do it. Alfie and his team design personalized strategies to strengthen your financial foundation so you can focus on living life on your terms. Ready to find out more? Text VISIT to 239-747-7470. Again, you can call or text 239-747-7470. Schedule your one-on-one consultation today and see how a proactive approach can help you thrive no matter what the market does next. Don't wait. Call or text VISIT to 239-747-7470 right now.
Now, back to Florida's Voice with Drew Steele.
All right, anytime you want to watch it, FL Voice News, YouTube, Rumble, X, and Facebook. Brevard County Sheriff Wayne Ivey coming up in just a couple of more minutes, but first let's find out what's going on in the Florida's Voice newsroom. We call this Top of the News.
Top of the News, Florida's headlines. Now.
And there she is, AP Anita Padilla is in the Florida's Voice newsroom. She's got the latest for us. What's up?
Hey there, Drew. Good afternoon. Topping our news right now, homeowners don't give up hope for an end to those property taxes here in Florida. State Rep Ryan Chamberlain and Senator Jonathan Martin telling Florida's Voice that the governor's recent veto on that $1 million study to end property taxes, it's not going to prevent them from pursuing the issue. Chamberlain actually told me that he was not surprised when the governor rejected that $1 million study on property taxes, noting that there's a lot of ongoing committee work already being done, and it's covering a lot of the same ground, saying that, quote, we've had more progress in the last 90 days than in the last 20 years, referring to really the intensified discussion that they're having on property tax reform. That vetoed study was initially set to analyze phasing out property taxes on homesteaded properties, but Chamberlain and the colleagues say they're going to move ahead with these legislative efforts, and they're going to try to get it on the 2026 ballot for you. Of course, Senator Jonathan Martin also told us that he is backing the governor's veto as well because, of course, you know, he sponsored a related bill. Well, with the state's or America's 250th birthday just around the corner, Governor Ron DeSantis getting a head start, you might say, on the celebrations. Today, he unveiled a brand new statue of Thomas Jefferson outside of the Jefferson County Courthouse. This is to honor one of the nation's most influential founding fathers, and of course, it pays tribute to the county's namesake there. Now, during the ceremony, he outlined Florida's plans to take the lead in commemorating the country's upcoming 250th anniversary. He also revealed or unveiled the official logo for Florida. It's America 250. And this logo, you're going to see it in all of these celebratory events that they're going to have all across the state in 67 counties, just celebrating America's anniversary or birthday. Florida Secretary of State Court Byrd was also on hand, and he kind of cracked a joke telling the crowd, hey, let's party like it's 1776.
Nice.
By the way, yeah, really cool. And Governor DeSantis, you know, Florida's ahead of the curve in preparing for this kind of thing. They're going to have all these events focusing on education, public art, and community engagement. So I really like that story. It's kind of fun. All right, Drew, that's it for now, but I'm going to come back in our next hour. I'm going to talk about property tax or a tax watchdog group that's saying that the new fiscal budget that the governor just signed, it cuts a lot of the waste. They say we like that. And this is going to save taxpayers millions of dollars. That's in our next hour. I'm Anita Padilla, the news director here at Florida's Voice. Drew, back over to you.
All right, AP in the Florida's Voice newsroom. We appreciate you joining us today on Florida's Voice. And anytime you want to check out the stories that they are working on there, flvoicenews.com, that's the website. Anytime you want to check out the show, you want to check out the podcast, or maybe listen 24/7, you can go to my personal website. That's drewsteele.com. The website, Steele has 3 E's. And you can hear all about what we've been talking about, including just this quickly before we move on. This is, well, you know, I'll get to that on the way. The OMB director, Russ Vaught, who again keeps talking about the one big beautiful bill and how it reduces the deficit. He's going to explain this again. And I guess sometimes it's one of those things where, and I mentioned this yesterday, I've kind of mentioned it a couple of times, where you just have to trust the process. There comes a time where you have to believe in this administration, the president, the people that he's put in these positions, like the OMB director and the Treasury Secretary and others, who said, listen, we've got this. We've figured this out. If you follow the things that we're talking about, everything is going to end up just fine and better than just fine. But you have to trust the process. And sometimes it's really hard to get people to understand that, get them on board with it. You know, I might even ask Brevard County Sheriff Wayne Ivey, who's joining us right now on Florida's Voice. I wonder if he sometimes feels the same way, right? Right, Sheriff? It's just like, listen, we've got this. We know what we're doing, for example, in the community. Trust the process. You know, first of all, hey, it's good to see you. How's everything?
Good to see you too. You know, I agree with you 100%. Sometimes, you know, you got to trust the process. You got to give the process time to work. Let it take the effect it's supposed to have. So we see that in a lot of different things, especially in our public safety side of things.
Yeah, absolutely. So speaking of that, some things that have been going on there in the county. Maybe talk about this digital forensic unit agency that's getting some pretty big accolades. First of all, maybe what they do, and tell me a little bit more about what's happening with that.
Yeah, so we have a great partnership with the United States Secret Service in doing forensic evidence recovery. You know, that could be anything from the bits and pieces of child porn that are embedded in computers to any type of you know, other evidence that's out there in the cyber world. So we started the partnership a number of years ago, and the Secret Service tracks how many examinations those forensic examiners do. And as you saw in the press release, ours rank in the upper percentile of the country for the volume of evidence that they produce and the number that they examine. They list the top 100, and one of our guys is up at the top in number 4 or 5 place there. So great testament to them, the hard work they do, their work ethic, and also the partnership. You know, Secret Service has limited resources. They partner with their local and state partners, and this is the outcome.
Yeah, well, that's exactly what people would hope. We know when you put hard work behind a lot of the things that have to be done within the community. And, you know, I think it is one of those positions, one of those things that sometimes we don't talk enough about behind the scenes, right? And when it comes to the department and some of the things that need to get done, and forensics being one of them. So interesting, you know, because the process of trying to find out all of these different things that are going on, you know, you see things from the outside in the department, but certainly the behind the scenes work that gets done sometimes just doesn't get enough credit. You know what I mean, Sheriff?
Absolutely. And, you know, you look at these men and women that are out here, they're not only doing the work, they're having to maintain, you know, the increased curriculum of studying how to work those different things, keeping up with technology as it's taking place. And if you look, technology has completely changed the game of investigations.
Right.
It's, you know, added so many different tools to our toolbox, but we're still having to keep that movement, because you're looking at cases now that are involving Bitcoin. You're looking at cases now that are involving cyber intrusions across the globe. So they not only tasked with doing the job, but staying up on the training and staying up on the new technology as it advances.
Yeah, no doubt. And Sheriff, before we go, I just wanted to get your thoughts on some of what has been happening across the country, you know, with regard to even what the governor was doing with the president yesterday. And, you know, we had the Alligator Alcatraz, and obviously the concerns about and the help that the state is giving when it comes to deportations and all the work that's being done there when it comes to helping ICE and how important that is. And just to get your thoughts, a little bit of perspective on all of that before we go.
Yeah, so Alligator Alcatraz was a great outside the box thinking by Governor DeSantis, our Attorney General James Uthmeyer, and our President. You know, when you look at problem solving, the problem that ICE is having and Homeland Security is having is space for those that are going to be deported. So this was a problem solver, and it again is local, state, and federal government working together to solve the problem, to protect their citizens. And I love it. I'm looking at it, how quickly it came up. I think it was 8 days they got it up.
Yeah.
You know, Drew will laugh a little bit here, but if you go back and listen to the lyrics of Ice Ice Baby, which has really resurged all of a sudden, in there he says, if there's a problem, yo, baby, I'll solve it. Ron DeSantis and James Puthmeyer solved the problem. So I love it. They're looking at a second location in Florida at Camp Blanding, up more to the northern part of the state. And when we're looking at these things, if we can provide extra bed space for them, that's going to be the big problem solver.
Yeah. All right, Sheriff, listen, always great to see you. All the best. God bless. And looking forward to the next time we can talk, okay? We'll see you soon.
Sounds great. See you, bud.
All right, there he goes. That's Sheriff Wayne Ivey, Brevard County Sheriff. I didn't know. I don't know if that's like, is that breaking news? And possibly think I didn't hear that before. At least it's breaking for me that they're talking about another one in the northern part of the state. And look how it's important to have that outside of the box thinking. It's important to be able to help ICE and to be able to support them. And again, when we're able to do so many things here, it takes the burden off of what they need to do, not just in the state, but across the country. And they can have assets in other places. That's why before we went to break, last break, and the frustration that people have with what the city commission there in Key West did, voting 16-1 to void its immigration enforcement agreement with ICE. Yeah, I think the Attorney General might have something to say about that. All right, moving on to a couple of other issues that we have going on here. We were listening to and watching Florida's Voice. I did want to play this quickly. I mentioned it. OMB Director Russ Vaught, who, again, look, you have to continue to explain to the American people because there are going to be a lot of forces that are going to be pushing against what is happening on Capitol Hill with the One Big Beautiful Bill. And here he is talking once again.
This is an incredible bill. It will lead to an incredible growth. It reduces, and let me be very clear, it reduces the deficit. When you have an honest assessment of what current law is, this is a reduction in deficits over 10 years, and it will lead to trillions of dollars of economic growth. The economic growth numbers that Congressman Harris is using is largely just a number that they came up with that they were comfortable with. We have done a rigorous economic analysis in which we believe that the average is much more like $4 trillion that will come as a result of just the regulatory provisions and just the tax provisions, which, by the way, were made more permanent in the Senate bill, which is why we're having this conversation comparing the two bills from the House and the Senate passage. This is a great bill. It will lead to incredible economic growth that we're already seeing. It comes in conjunction with $3 trillion at least in tariff revenue. We are doing substantial work to deal with getting our fiscal house in order.
Yep, important to notice and important to remember that, yeah, it's, of course, number one, it is about getting the fiscal house in order. That absolutely is correct. But the other part of it is an honest assessment of what current law is. It's a reduction in deficits over 10 years. It's going to lead to trillions of dollars of economic growth. And I mean this, and then we're going to move on, but I do mean this sincerely, which is trusting the process. We have to live in the world we live in and not the one that we wish we lived in, because if we lived in the world that we wish we lived in, then everybody would be on the same page when we all be trying to accomplish the same thing, but we don't. We have Democrats. As long as we have Democrats, we just have we have troubles. It's just the way it is, I mean, it's bad. Couldn't have said it better myself. So we have to deal with that reality, and then we also have to deal with the reality of politics and how it is. But at the same time, if the president, the cabinet, the administration is wrong about this, it could set the party, the country back, and that would be horrible. And I'm pretty sure they put that into the analysis. Like, if this doesn't work, if all the things that we've been touting and talking about are wrong, it's going to be trouble, right? For the party and for the country. But if you trust the process and say, you know what, they have been researching this, they've checked, hopefully, all the boxes, they've dotted the I's and crossed the T's, if they've done this and they're right, then it could be a huge change. And boy, won't that be nice if all the things that they've talked about are going to come to fruition as opposed to the opposite, which is, of course, doom and gloom because Democrats. There are a lot of people. And look, and I'll also say this, and I know the music is going to start in a second. We're going to go to break, but there are some people on the Republican side of the aisle who genuinely, of course, are fiscally responsible. I believe in fiscal responsibility. I've been talking about it for years and years, and if anybody has listened to me and the sound of my voice when I've been talking about this for over 20 years, you know that it's been the same thing over and over. But there are certain things you have to do to get to a place where you would like to be and get that ball rolling. And I'm assuming that that's what part of this is. So, all right, more coming up. My name is Drew Steele. This is Florida's Voice.
You're listening to Florida's Voice with Drew Steele.
Babes, what are you doing?
What? I'm just mowing the lawn.
No, it's blazing hot and dry out here. Don't you remember? Smokey Bear says.
Avoid using power equipment when it's windy or dry.
Where'd you learn this?
Oh, it's on
SmokeyBear.com with many other wildfire prevention tips.
Right. Thanks, honey bear.
Because remember, only you can prevent wildfires.
Brought to you by the USDA Forest Service, your state forester, and the Ad Council.
All right, son. Time to put out this campfire.
Dad, we learned about this in school.
Oh, did you now? Okay. What's first?
Smokey Bear said to.
First drown it with a bucket of water, then stir it with a shovel.
Wow, you sound just like him.
Then he said.
If it's still warm, then do it again.
Where can I learn all this?
It's all on SmokeyBear.com with other wildfire prevention tips, because only you can prevent wildfires.
Brought to you by the USDA Forest Service, your state forester, and the Ad Council.
You know, a lot of times you have to choose between something high quality or something that saves you money. But if you could get both, why not? Especially when it comes to health care, and that is MediShare. You get both. Many families save $500 a month with MediShare, and that's huge. But it's also true that people wind up way more satisfied, too. The member satisfaction rate for MediShare is double that of the typical health insurance plan. Double. That's because MediShare works. It has for more than 30 years. It's a community of Christians who have shared more than $5 billion of each other's bills. People love having telehealth. They love the huge PPO network. So, yeah, really, you can save a ton and like it better. Imagine being happy with how you're taking care of your health care. So if you're self-employed or part of the gig economy, or you just want a plan you're happy with, you can call right now and get a price in 2 minutes. Here's the number. Just call 855-SHARE-40. That's 855-SHARE 40. 855-SHARE-40.
Hey, it's Drew Steele. Look, if you're looking to take advantage of today's pro-business environment and strengthen your financial future, certified financial planner professional Alfie Townsend and his team at Advantage Retirement Group have got you covered. They specialize in advanced tax strategies, risk management, and retirement planning, all aimed at helping high net worth investors like you thrive. Now, Alfie wants to share those insights with you with his book, Keeping You on the Retirement Fairway. It's packed with practical tips and forward-thinking strategies to help you make the most out of your hard-earned wealth. Ready to get your free copy? Text BOOK to 239-747-7470. That's 239-747-7470. Don't wait. Learn how to capitalize on that pro-business opportunities that are out there right now and secure the confident retirement you deserve. Once again, text BOOK to 239-747-7470 right now, and let Alfie Townsend and Advantage Retirement Group help guide you toward a stronger, more confident financial future.
We're with Bridget, whose husband won't be home for months and whose daughter is due any day. We're with Mike, who's leaving home to protect his family and yours. We're with all service members and their families who need community, connection, and maybe a bit of magic. Are you with them? Learn more at USO.org today. We're with Liam after his 4th military move, when being new is starting to get old. We're with Tara during the holidays, when she misses home the most. We're with all service members and their families who need connection, comfort, and a home away from home. Are you with them? Learn more at USO.org today.
Now, back to Florida's Voice with Drew Steele.
I didn't know what it was at first, but
here for you, that thing was huge when I saw it go by. And sometimes you need to shut down parts of the roads and highways and move that thing. I don't know how something like that could happen.
Oh boy, you're going to upset Greta Thunberg with this kind of talk. A highway in Maryland was backed up because a massive wind turbine fell off the truck and blocked several lanes of traffic. I was a trucker and a witness talking about the wind turbine. That's right. The wind turbines, the things that we're going to power the future with, right? The ones that are...
How dare you?
Well, I didn't say anything bad about them yet, but, the things that we don't need a lot of. A person was hurt trying to remove a guardrail, but it's going to be okay. So that's good news. So everybody's all right. But as far as the wind turbine, yeah. So, got that. All right, what else do we have going on here at Florida's Voice? Hit me! All right. I want to make sure that all the lefties that are listening here to the sound of my voice, whether it is on social media, at FL Voice News on YouTube, Rumble, X, and Facebook, or maybe it's here in the state of Florida because you just don't want to get this through your heads. And I'm not going to say they're thick or anything like that because that would be mean. But get this through your thick heads. Somebody has said that before, right?
Get that through your dumb heads.
I said thick heads, not dumb heads. Here is the State Department spokeswoman, Tammy Bruce. Did you know about this? USAID shut down. It's not shut down. The offices are shut down. You're shutting down USAID and moving the monies to the State Department. She's explaining this. She's the State Department spokesperson. But there's also something that was kind of mind-boggling that she talked about. And I think if you are someone who is going to have to deal with lefties over the 4th of July holiday weekend, then you're like, oh boy, am I going to have to do this? Put this one in your quiver, if you will, your political quiver. Because if somebody says something about USAID or all the things that Trump's closing down or Marco Rubio is, I don't know, who knows what your crazy lefty friends might say. Check this out.
We are not ending foreign aid. We are making it more nimble. We are operating at the speed of relevancy to making sure that the millions and billions of dollars that we spend on aid get to where it is meant to go.
Right. We want to make sure it's going where it's supposed to go as opposed to what it's been doing. And wait till you hear what it's been doing. So there's this.
There is nothing to be proud of when 90%, according to Samantha Powers, is not even making it to the people to whom it was promised. These are promises. Donald Trump makes promises and he keeps them. Promises made, promises kept. We will be doing that also now with foreign aid, with the new structure of how this will be working. We are, of course, it is in our DNA. We exist in large part because of the nature of what America stands for, as a beacon of hope for the future for the world.
Let me just stop for a second there. Everything she said is true. And then some of it is like, whoa, is that true? 90% of foreign aid never made it to the intended destination. Excuse me? Like all the help that we've been given, the USAID, there was a report CNN yesterday. Remember the hyperbolic statement? 17 million people or 14 million people or 100 million people. I don't know. They make up these numbers. 14 million people might die because USAID is gone. Well, it's not gone. They're moving the structure of it. The State Department, they'll have the money. They'll be able to examine to make sure that it's going for the causes that we are told are needed, as opposed to the mind-boggling Democrat-run the slush fund, as it was used for Democrat purposes, lining the pockets of people and not actually helping those that were in need. 90% never made it to its intended destination. These are the kind of things that you hear and you're like, hold on a second. Can we arrest some people? Is that possible? Can we do something like that? And by the way, speaking of that, coming up in just a little while, I know the music's going to play in just a second. Oh, there it is. Speaking of arrests, wait till you hear what else we've come to discover. Chuck Grassley, Kash Patel, Dan Bongino, the FBI and Deputy FBI Director, and what the FBI was doing with regard to the 2020 election. Wait till you hear the latest on this.
You're listening to Florida's Voice with Drew Steele.
It's 4 a.m., Monday, and you're literally sucking baby snot through a tube because she's congested. Man, that's love. And if you love her that much, love her enough to make sure she's buckled in the right car seat. To make sure your child's in the right seat for their age and size, visit nhtsa.gov/the right seat. Show them you love them. keep them safe. Visit nhtsa.gov/the-right-seat. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council. You let him try violin because you love him. And if you love him that much, love him enough to make sure he's buckled up and in the back seat. Find out more at nhtsa.gov/the-right-seat. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
I don't think that many kids in my son's school even do it.
No way.
No way. No way. No way. My kid would never vape.
Get your head out of the cloud. Talk to your kid about vaping. Visit talkaboutvaping.org.
You're listening to Florida's Voice with Drew Steele. Florida's Voice with Drew Steele.
Congratulations on your show.
Congratulations on your new show. Big deal, huh?
That's why shows like yours are so important. We have an independent county elected sheriff that's the head of law enforcement in Jacksonville/Duval County. And I know how to work toward making this city safe.
We can't be shy about speaking on things such as faith and politics. We have to remember, in a free society, the public square belongs to all of us.
I'm not interested in North Florida looking like Orlando or Miami. I love where we live, but I think that good jobs means that people that live in this district can stay in this district.
Fishing and hunting is funding a large part of your conservation projects in Florida, and we want to make sure that those are forever preserved.
And the problem with this industry at this point is that they actually target our youth. You can see it in their marketing strategies where it's bright colors, fun names.
And that's going to be endlessly litigated.
Florida's Voice with Drew Steele.
Hey, it's Drew Steele. Look, are you still playing defense with your money? Now might be the perfect time to go on offense and seize the opportunities presented by the new pro-business environment ushered in by President Trump and his administration. That's exactly what certified financial planner professional Alfie Townsend and his team at Advantage Retirement Group do for high net worth investors like you. They create strategies designed to help manage taxes, control risks, and boost your financial confidence. It's a forward-thinking approach that can strengthen your foundation so you can enjoy the lifestyle you've worked so hard to achieve. If you're ready to see how Alfie's team can help elevate your plan, call or text VISIT to 239-747-7470. Again, text VISIT to 239-747-7470. Schedule your one-on-one consultation today and discover proactive strategies to help you thrive in an ever-changing world. Again, text VISIT to 239-747-7470. Don't wait. Let Alfie Townsend and the Advantage Retirement Group team guide you toward a stronger, more confident financial future.
I've been dipping snuff for well over 30 years. You know, I could wake up in the morning and have a weird lump in my gums. Guess it's like playing Russian roulette, really. I would love grandchildren. And if by quitting it extends my life some, I would gladly lay it down.
Visit tobaccofreeflorida.com to find free resources to help you quit your way.
Today, push harder, push forward, push vigorously.
There are things that I am hiding from people that I'm trying to inspire.
You can do whatever you set your mind to.
I feel like a hypocrite a lot of the times.
Don't give up on yourself ever.
Smoking, I hide it because I'm ashamed of it. I want to get out of the shadow. I want to show people there is light away from the darkness. I am going to quit.
Visit tobaccofreeflorida.com to find free resources to help you quit your way.
We're with Bridget, whose husband won't be home for months and whose daughter is due any day. We're with Mike, who's leaving home to protect his family and yours. We're with all service members and their families who need community, connection, and maybe a bit of magic. Are you with them? Learn more at uso.org today. We're with Liam after his 4th military move, when being new is starting to get old. We're with Tara during the holidays, when she misses home the most. We're with all service members and their families who need connection, comfort, and a home away from home. Are you with them? Learn more at uso.org today.
Hey, it's Drew Steele, and you know I love the Floor Meisters in Naples. Locally family-owned business, 3 generations of Meisters. Listen, what are you looking for? Carpet, tile, hardwood, a Core-Tech? Maybe that's what you're looking for. And why don't we talk to TJ Meister right now of the Floor Meisters and find out what's going on with Core-Tech. What's up, TJ?
Well, we're just keeping up with the demand for Core-Tech. Just had to order a truck and bring it in from the West Coast of the United States to keep up with all the needs and wants of the people of Southwest Florida. Somebody doesn't have it, give me a call. I probably do.
I tell you, I love my Core-Tech floor. People love it. What is it about it that makes it so awesome?
Well, it's waterproof, kid-proof, pet-proof. So if you got a pool, no problem. If you got a dog, no problem. If you got a husband that spills, no problem.
Floor Meisters, that's who I trust, and you should as well. 6281 Naples Boulevard in Naples. 239-596-4964 for the Floor Meisters.
Let's see, if something costs less, a lot less, but people are actually happier with it, that sounds like something to look into, and that's MediShare. Maybe you've heard joining MediShare can save you or your family up to $500 a month, and that's huge, but it's also true. People are just happier with it. They love being part of something that reflects and promotes their values and what they believe in. MediShare works, too. It's been around for 30 years now, and members have shared more than $7 billion of each other's bills. People love having telehealth and a huge nationwide PPO network, so yeah, really, you can save a ton and like it better. Imagine being happy with how you're taking care of your health care, whether you're self-employed or part of the gig economy, or you just want a plan that you're happy with. Here you go. You can call right now and get a price within 2 minutes. A very, very smart use of 2 minutes. Here's the number you need. It's 855-SHARE-40. 855-SHARE-40. 855-SHARE-40.
Thank you for waking us all up out here, for all you do.
Thank you for giving us the voice.
For being out there helping keep the constitutional republic. I want to thank you for your support for veterans in the military. Educating us. Standing up for conservatism. Giving us the truth.
Florida's Voice with Drew Steele.
Well, hey, everybody. So glad you're joining us today on Florida's Voice. My name is Drew Steele. Big D on the other side of the glass. You got Nina in the breaking newsroom, and you hanging out with us at FL Voice News on YouTube, Rumble, X, and Facebook. Anytime you want to check out the podcast, you want to revisit some shows, or maybe you just want to check it out 24/7, it plays at my website, drewsteele.com. Steele has 3 E's. If you go there, there it is, DREWSTEELE.com. You can check out the podcast and listen to the show at your convenience. Coming up, we're going to talk more about the One Big Beautiful Bill and how we are closer and closer to, well, what are we closer and closer to? How about some of what some have said, including the talk about Alligator Alcatraz, deportations, and even the border czar Tom Homan, who was being asked today a question as he was there at on Capitol Hill.
Let's find widespread fear among.
If you're in the country legally, you should be concerned. It's not okay to be in the country illegally. If you're a national security threat, you should be working. We're looking for you.
Yeah, we're looking for you. You should be concerned. Are you here in the country illegally? You should be concerned. Are you here and criminally active? You should be concerned. You should be concerned about that no matter what. But how about a little about not only Alligator Alcatraz and the president and some of the things that he's doing, but I want you to buckle up for a minute, because we've got Wilton Simpson on with us, the agriculture commissioner here in the great state of Florida, and there's a couple of things that I want to talk about, and we're going to go some places. I hope the agriculture commissioner will go there with me, because sometimes I have some thoughts in my head and I just have to express myself, and it has to do with something that he has been dealing with as well, but it can be an uncomfortable conversation for some. I'll explain in just a second. He's on the line with us right now here on Florida's Voice. He's probably listening going, what am I in for? What's going on here? I promise you it's going to be good. I promise you. How are you, sir?
I'm doing great. The anticipation, right, is boiling over.
Well, that's the thing. I haven't prepped you for this. Well, I don't prep you for anything. When you call, you call. I don't ever prep you. I just kind of I didn't say anything while you've been on hold or anything like that. I'm like, yeah, you're going to know where I'm going in just a second. And it's an important place that we need to go. First of all, Alligator Alcatraz there with the president yesterday. Can you talk about that?
We certainly can. Yes. The president did amazing. He, has a passion for undoing the damage the Biden administration has, took 4 years to do, right? And he talked about that, and that's what we're after here. We're after these criminals that came in this country, maybe up to 20 million of them during the Biden administration, and these are, as we know, they're terrorists, right? They're Iranians. They were just, major world war with Israel, major war with Israel, but they eliminated most of their nuclear sites. And of course, President Trump had to make the decision to go and clean that up.
Yep.
And I mentioned that to him yesterday, how much we appreciate him taking care of not only the United States and closing off our border. There were 0 incursions or 0 crossings last month, which is kind of amazing.
Right.
And so when you think about what President Trump's doing, he has revolutionized our country again into being safe. He's completely flipped the script from the Biden era, where, again, you had 100,000 Americans dying a year of fentanyl coming across that border. You had gang members, known gang members. You had people emptying out their insane asylums. They were emptying out their prisons. And they're coming to the United States, and guess what they do when they get here, right? So the facility we have in South Florida, Alligator Alcatraz, is all about making sure that we can keep Floridians safe, right? We are assisting the federal government, giving them the opportunities to have places to where we can deport quicker. This is on an old airport site. Planes can lift off there. We're going to have our National Guard, and we've got some judges within that system, some lawyers that are going to act as judges to have them go through their judiciary hearings, and they're going to be able to immediately get flown out of the country. So it's really going to make it very efficient for the United States. And it's, by the way, efficient for people here that are illegally committing crimes. And President Trump talked very eloquently about that yesterday. The governor did. Kristi Noem, Secretary Noem was there, and others. And so it was a very good day. And Florida is leading the nation. We're a model for the nation for this type of activity.
Yeah,
to get rid of it.
Absolutely. All right, and then there's another place that I wanted to dive in, because this has bothered me for the longest time. It's been coming up more and more lately, not just here in the state of Florida, but across the country. And these are the kind of things where, you bring it up, you start to talk about it, and I get pushback because people just want what they want, and they don't want to hear any of the science. They don't want to go in depth. And I'm talking about hemp. And there is right now across the country, there is hemp regulation that is going on. And there's a reason why this is happening, because as I talked about last week, and I don't know if I talked about this with you or I was just talking about it in general. I don't think I had a chance to talk to you about this last week, but I'm so glad you're here now, because with hemp, my frustration has been, it's not rope and clothing. There are people that think that, well, that's what it is. I mean, that's what we're talking about when we're talking about hemp. It's not like you can get intoxicated. There's no intoxicating cannabinoids in hemp or anything like that. Or you can't do, whoa. Are you sure about that? There's a reason why there's a lot of regulation that's happening. And I wonder if you can speak to this, because, again, I get pushback when we start talking about this, when we start talking about cannabinoids, we start talking about marijuana, how everybody starts to get crazy because... well, not everybody, but there are certain people that they're, we're going to ruin their good time. Well, excuse me. It's quite a serious and an important topic, as we know from last election cycle, that we have to talk about. So maybe you could talk a little bit about that if you don't mind.
I'd love to, Drew. And you're right. This is not something we prep for, but it's something we spend a lot of time as a department dealing with. And what you have is you've got a lot of these hemp companies that are drink infused, going into the drinks, and they're, I was with a group, I was actually with 2 different groups for the last 2 weeks that produce these types of products. And so I asked them, I said, well, tell us what you're producing. And if you drink a 3 milligram infused drink, and that may be the equivalent of like drinking a beer. But if you drink a 10, that may be a couple of, mixed drinks, maybe 4 or 5 beers. And some of these folks are producing 20 milligram cans and maybe even 50 or so. And if you are not used to this, you do not have a tolerance, can really do a lot of damage. And so what the department has taken the position on is that we are not going to allow any of these products to get in the hands of our children. And so we have taken a very hard stand. You cannot have cartoons on your cans. You can't have certain types of effects on them. And you had to have them in safety. If it's medicine, that has to be in a safety container where kids can't open them, just like any other medicine. And so we've taken a hard position. What happened in the Farm Bill that passed, I think 6 or 7 years ago now, they basically said everything goes at the federal level, so they leave it to the states to now regulate. Mm-hmm. And so our legislature, and we've worked with them on this, our primary concern is to protect children. And so that's what we're going to do in the state of Florida. But these can be very dangerous drinks. Anyone listening, even for adults above 21 years old, you have to know what you're getting. And by the way, as a consumer, we have that expectation. If you're taking this from a medicinal purposes, then you have to think of it as just like a Tylenol. You would not just take a blind Tylenol pill or a Aleve or an Advil or something. You want to know how many milligrams you're taking, and it's on the bottle, right? 250, 500, whatever it is. So you're taking a prescribed dose. My concern for adults is we need to know, they need to be informed of what they're putting in their body. And so, we have cracked down very hard. We have a program called Operation Safe Summer, which is a program we just started a few weeks ago. We've taken well over 15,000 packages out of stores that were targeting our children or had other defects. And so we're going to continue to ratchet this up and remove this out of our state. We're going to continue to work with the legislature to try to put some caps on what we're capable of getting. And Drew, here's the real important part for everyone to hear.
Yeah.
In states where you have a very robust medical marijuana program like we have in Florida, that's where you have this hemp industry that comes in and tries to satisfy the adult use, because you don't have adult use in Florida. The constitutional amendment failed. And in states where you get passed for adult use marijuana, essentially the hemp industry dries up there, because then everybody can have the adult use marijuana that wants it. And so what we've got in Florida, you've got a lot of very aggressive people that are, they are targeting our children, but they are not packaging it properly. They are doing things that is creating harm to our consumers. Right. And we have a gentleman named Dr. Curran that works for us that's, helping us put this together and our people that are doing the inspections, and we're getting that out of the stores.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think this is important because, and one day in the future, for everybody listening, look, we'll spend more time on this and get in depth about this issue, because like you said, if the narrative out there and people talking about hemp it's just rope and clothing. That's all it is.
No,
There's
not at all.
If we've been, I don't want to say indoctrinated, that's probably a bad way to put it, but not really. Mm-hmm. But if we've been indoctrinated over the years to believe that that's the case, if we've been told and indoctrinated to believe that, for example, the cannabis, the THC that exists today is the same exact one as it was 40, 50 years ago. Reefer madness, and people putting the quotes up and it's just, you don't understand. You're kidding yourself. It's not true. These are not. These are lies, and you have to call them out and call it what it is. I mean, I can even recently all the discussions about, and people don't like to hear this, about cannabis and THC and the concerns that's out there that is studied about this the psychotic disorder, schizophrenia, and the use of cannabis. There's mental illness that is happening because of cannabis use, and it exists and it is documented. And I'm not just making it up to try to scare people or anything else, but it's truly out there. And it's about being informed and finding out what is the truth in all of this, as opposed to, hemp is just rope and clothing, that kind of thing.
No, that you're 100% right, Drew. And this, it can be a very dangerous product. And, I'm a little bit of a libertarian when it comes to people over 21, but even those folks, even adults, should be able to know what they're putting in their body, and they should know the effects of it.
Right. That's the point. They should know.
Yes.
They shouldn't be lied to prop up a business model as opposed to, look, this is what it is and this is what it can do, and tell us what the harms are. Tell us what can possibly be, especially because I got a 16-year-old that I have to worry about all the time, and many people know what I'm talking about. When you have a teen or you have a young adult that has to deal with all of this discussion, and what is it about? Is it, it's harmless. It's not, it's just like, and fill in the blank, because that's the narrative that's out there. Let's not do that to our kids.
No, and by the way, not even to our, especially our kids. Let's let them grow up and maybe be able to make their own decisions in a educated fashion. But certainly the adults that are using hemp or these, infused drinks and things of that nature, at least they should have the understanding of what is really happening and what they're really putting in their body. And because what happens, you build up a tolerance. And what I suggested to the hemp providers is that they should come up with a system that lets adults know, they want to drink 0 calories, a hemp infused drink of 10 milligrams. Well, if you have never drank one and you drink one with 10 milligrams, it may put you out. It may, basically make you go to bed and go to sleep.
Yeah.
Or worse, in some cases, you may have to go to the hospital. But you build up a tolerance over time, so you need more and more of that product to get your high or whatever it is you're seeking to get. And I think it's something that's very important for adults to know what they're using. It's something to make sure that obviously anyone, and we're going to continue to remove it off the shelves. We're going to continue to shut stores down and things of that nature when they are targeting our children under 21 years old. And so we're going to continue to do that. But I think it's very important. I think you're right. And maybe we'll have Dr. Curran come on and do a session with you, because he is an expert at this, of all the different facets of hemp.
Yeah.
And we could certainly have him come on and talk to you about these adult products so that adults know what they're getting. And to me, that's the important part. It's important for, as an adult, to make sure that, we, number one, we protect our children. Number two, we at least protect adults that are interested in understanding what's going in their body. And obviously we have some people that just want to use these products and that's the way it is, but not most of our population. Most of the society wants to know, they want to be informed, and we certainly can help bring that. We can certainly help do that.
Yeah, just don't lie to me. Don't lie to me because you want something, because you don't want me to ruin your good time. Don't lie to me. Just tell me what
That's
the truth
right.
is.
You don't have to. People know. People have drank beer for many years, or alcoholic drinks mixers. They know what their tolerance levels is. They know they can drink 1 or 2 beers or 4 or 5. They know how it affects them. And what we have to make sure of is in these products that they're informed.
Yeah, and they also know that because they know about these things, they know the harmful effects it would have on their children if, let's just say, a kid of 14, 15 years old is drinking a few beers with his buddies and not telling his parents, and he's going to be driving. They know what would happen then as well, and they would be concerned about that. They should be concerned the same way when it comes to these products as well. But if they don't know about it, then they don't know what to do.
You're exactly right, Drew. And if they don't know, and in kids, again, you can't drive. DUI accounts for all of these products. You cannot drink these hemp-infused drinks and get behind the wheel of a car. You can't smoke marijuana and get behind the wheel of a car. You can't, do any of these drugs, alcohol, and get behind the wheel of a car. You're putting your life and other lives in danger. Yeah. And that's the effect that people need to be aware of, is that, you could, if you've never drank a hemp-infused drink, you could drink one, and it could be much worse for you than drinking alcohol.
Yeah.
And so everybody's bodies are a little different, and they certainly should be clearly marked and labeled. If you go to stores and things are not labeled properly, I think we shut down all those slushy machines where they were, putting hemp-infused liquids within a slushy, and they were just, putting as much as they wanted, essentially. So I think all that's shut down now. That's illegal. If anyone listening is concerned about these things, if you see any of this, please call our office. You can go to our website, call it in our Consumer Services Division. Again, we are being very aggressive at removing these products that do not have the proper safety caps, do not have the proper markings, and if they have anything that's attractive to a kid, we're removing it off the shelves. So we're doing a lot of good work, but we need the general public to back us up on this.
Yeah. All right, sir. Listen, always great to speak with you. All the best. And I'm glad you didn't mind me going in this direction with this conversation because I get worked up. I get worked up with this stuff, and that's why. Yeah. So you just never know. I get worked up about it.
Absolutely. Yeah. Well, you can go in any direction you want with me, and I'll call in next week, and God bless.
Okay, sounds good. All right, we'll see you soon. All right, there he goes. That is Florida's Agriculture Commissioner Wilton Simpson joining us on Florida's Voice. All right, what else do we have going on here today? Hit me. All right, I brought this up earlier. Tim Burchett is representative from Tennessee. He was talking about, he was on CNN. I'm going to play some audio later on in the program. He was on with CNN, and they were trying to bash the one big beautiful bill. And boy, he was just absolutely decimating their argument. It was fantastic. And the left there on the program, he was with somebody who was a big lefty from Tennessee, I guess, and was just making his point. It was perfect. But he's the representative who's always on his cell phone, and he's always giving his constituents an update. And a little earlier today, he was talking about...
Hey, everybody, Tim Burchett, just going into the White House. Not sure if I'm going to the woodshed or not. I've been summoned by the president, so we'll see how this goes. I'll give y'all an update when we get out.
Okay, so he's like... I don't know what's going on here, but I've been summoned by the president, and there may be an issue or something. I don't know what's going on, but I will give you all an update. And so he leaves the White House a couple of hours later. This was just a little while ago, and he gives an update. Here's the update.
Hey, everybody, Tim Burchett. Just leaving the White House. Everybody say, hey, Byron Donalds, next governor of Florida.
It's great to be on with Timmy B.
Scott Perry. My number one man, General. I got Norman, got Burkeen over here. Got us all, baby. President was wonderful, as always. Informative, funny. Told me he liked seeing me on TV, which is kind of cool. Hey, Commissioner, look at there. Commissioner wearing purple. That's the color of royalty.
People, are we getting it done?
Yes, ma'am.
Good to see y'all.
I'm a happily married man. Oh, you see that?
I'm so sorry.
She clipped me.
And she accidentally knocked him right in the face. She's giving him a hug, and then all of a sudden, boom, right now.
Man, she clipped me. Did y'all see that? Anyway.
I'm good.
Big day today, folks. Hopefully we get this thing worked out. President answered all our questions, was very informative. J.D. Vance was there. It was just a very good day. Anyway, thank y'all so much for sending me here. We'll hopefully get this worked out. And
hopefully get it worked out. So that is Tim Burchett. I thought it was pretty funny there. He's like, there's the next governor of the state of Florida, Congressman Byron Donalds. Hey, what's up? And he's just like meeting people on the street and saying hi. It's very casual. But President called him in, and 2 hours later, very productive meeting, trying to dot the I's and cross the T's and get everybody on board. And hopefully that will happen. We'll have an update coming up in just a little bit. Give you the latest on what's going on in just a minute, but we're going to be heading into a break in just a second. But first, speaking of breaks, no breaks with the weather. Florida weather, you know what it's like. And if you are in that place where you need to make the purchase of an air conditioning unit, yours, and you're in this place where you need one, you like to have a selection. You like to have a little variety. You'd like to be able to pick something that's going to be best for you, your home, your budget, your family, right? And that's why you got to call Strata Air Conditioning and Heating. They feel that homeowners should be able to select from a full range of air conditioning units, manufacturers and models, just for you, right? For your budget, your home, your lifestyle. Strata sells and services every major manufacturer. That includes Carrier and Goodman and Daikin and Trane and Mitsubishi and Lennox. So find out more. Go visit the website, strataac.com. Strata is committed to 5-star customer service. STRADAAC.com. That's STRADAAC.com. Schedule an appointment. You'll get the text back, a confirmation. You'll get that cool little tracker so you can see the tech making their way to your home. STRADAAC.com. That's STRADAAC.com. You ought to call Strata. License number CACO 43953. All right, we are going to take a break, and when we come back, we will have more in the debate on the one big beautiful bill. Something happened in Jefferson County today. It was a pretty big deal. Has to do with the 250th anniversary of this beautiful country of ours. The governor was there. We'll have some details on that coming up and more. Top of the news on the way. The Florida's Voice Newsroom.
You're listening to Florida's Voice with Drew Steele.
I'm Chris Jakovic. I served in the United States Air Force and I deployed 3 times. Being a veteran, it's interwoven into your DNA, is really the absence of the connection and the purpose that can really drive a lot of veterans to some negative thoughts. For those who are in a suicidal crisis, the window of time to save somebody's life is very short. Our duty is to protect ourselves and protect our families, and one way you can do that is store your weapons safely. Store all your guns securely. Help stop suicide.
Brought to you by End Family Fire and the Ad Council.
Hey, it's Drew Steele, and I have to tell you, when my wife and I talked about getting new kitchen countertops for our house, we know who to call. Rock Solid Countertops and More, 2240 JNC Boulevard in Naples. And they have been absolutely amazing. Hugo and the team are the best. The workmanship has been absolutely incredible. The install was so easy. The process was perfect. Taking everything out, bringing the new stuff in. The quartz countertop is unbelievably beautiful, and my wife is super happy, I'll tell you. You know they have the best quality and selection of marble, quartz, granite, and a one-stop shop for all of your kitchen, outdoor, and bathroom needs. I've known it for years. I've lived in Southwest Florida 40 years. There was really only one place I was going to go. It's Rock Solid Countertops and More. I would suggest you give them a call, 596-7676. They're at 2240 JNC Boulevard in Naples. Find out what they can do for you. Countertops, cabinets, plantation shutters, they do it all. Rock Solid Countertops and More.
Let's see, if something costs less, a lot less, but people are actually happier with it, that sounds like something to look into, and that's MediShare. Maybe you've heard joining MediShare can save you or your family up to $500 a month, and that's huge, but it's also true. People are just happier with it. They love being part of something that reflects and promotes their values and what they believe in. MediShare works, too. It's been around for 30 years now, and members have shared more than $7 billion of each other's bills. People love having telehealth and a huge nationwide PPO network, so yeah, really, you can save a ton and like it better. Imagine being happy with how you're taking care of your health care, whether you're self-employed or part of the gig economy, or you just want a plan that you're happy with. Here you go. You can call right now and get a price within 2 minutes. A very, very smart use of 2 minutes. Here's the number you need. It's 855-SHARE-40. 855-SHARE 40. 855-SHARE-40. 855-SHARE-40.
Since the dawn of time, man and wildlife have shared a connection, and hunting traditions passed down from generation to generation have connected man to the natural world, from bow and arrow to hook and bullet. As man evolved, our link to those traditions remain with them forever. Yet today, our basic instinct to provide and as part of the hunt to conserve and appreciate the natural world has fallen under attack for the first time in human history. The misguided politicians and radical activists pushing an agenda to end hunting as we know it, or leading a war against our heritage and their misguided policies and protests. They demonize hunters and belittle our way of life, the results of hunters leaving the sport in droves, while our wildlife and ecosystems suffer the consequences as conservation funding dries up. Named after the father of the North American model for wildlife conservation, the International Order of T. Roosevelt is fighting in the arena to protect and expand the rights of hunters everywhere. We will fight back against these forces to make sure that every American has a right to hunt, enshrined in their state constitutions. We will educate the next generation in our traditions and seek to expand accessibility so that everyone can enjoy our pastimes. And we will continue to hold true to our namesake's efforts to protect, preserve, and ensure open access to our nation's wild lands. Teddy Roosevelt's vision for American conservation defines our modern hunting and conservation system, a system upheld by the idea that conservation efforts are crucial to our hunting way of life, and that hunters are crucial to successful conservation.
To some, the sound of a baby babbling doesn't mean much, but that's not true. They're testing out vowels and consonants and trying different sounds. And by 12 months, their babbling is beginning to take on meaning, especially if there's no babbling at all. Little to no babbling by 12 months or later is just one of the possible signs of autism in children. Learn more at autismspeaks.org.
Hey, it's Drew Steele. Look, are you still playing defense with your money? It's time to shift gears and seize the fresh opportunities this new pro-business environment has to offer. That's exactly what certified financial planner professional Alfie Townsend and the team at Advantage Retirement Group do for high net worth investors like you, helping you go on the offense with advanced tax strategies, thoughtful risk management, and forward-thinking financial planning. Imagine enjoying the retirement lifestyle you've worked so hard to achieve, all while staying one step ahead, and in a changing world, you've got to do it. Alfie and his team design personalized strategies to strengthen your financial foundation so you can focus on living life on your terms. Ready to find out more? Text VISIT to 239-747-7470. Again, you can call or text 239-747-7470. Schedule your one-on-one consultation today and see how a proactive approach can help you thrive no matter what the market does next. Don't wait. Call or text VISIT to 239-747-7470 right now.
Now, back to Florida's Voice with Drew Steele.
Sorry. I was mid-laugh. I was just looking at the clown show that is the Democrat Party and some of the arguments they were making today on Capitol Hill. The debate on rules for the GOP tax and spending cuts legislation, as the one big beautiful bill called, and some of the things that AOC was saying. I'll play the audio coming up so we can laugh together. It's always fun to laugh. Laughing is healthy. All right, let's find out what's going on in the Florida's Voice newsroom. We call this Top of the News.
Top of the News, Florida's headlines. Now.
Nita Padilla's in the Florida's Voice newsroom. She's got the latest. See what's up. What's up?
Hey, Drew, topping the news right now, a Florida watchdog group praising Governor Ron DeSantis for that veto of over $182 million in state spending when he signed the budget on Monday, with it vetoing several items. Florida Tax Watch says the governor did the right thing and got rid of wasteful projects, which they call budget turkeys. The group's president says DeSantis just saved millions of dollars for Florida families. And he also applauded some of the other things, like the business rent tax elimination and the fact that lawmakers just gave permanent exemptions for disaster preparedness items. That's good news, they say, for families and businesses alike.
Nice.
Two Florida lawmakers tell us that the state doesn't need $1 million study just to kill property taxes. State Rep. Ryan Chamberlain and Senator Jonathan Martin tell Florida's Voice that the governor's recent veto on that $1 million study to end property taxes is not going to stop them from pursuing the issue. In fact, Chamberlain told me that he wasn't surprised at all when the governor rejected that study, saying that there's already a lot of work covering the same ground being done by the committee. And he said that, in fact, he was impressed that they've had so much progress in the last 90 days than they've had in the past 20 years. Senator Jonathan Martin, who sponsored a related bill, says he's also backing the governor's veto as well. White House Deputy Chief of Staff for Policy Stephen Miller is urging Republican governors around the country to follow Florida's lead and build detention facilities to support mass deportations. He was on Fox News and he said that red states should call DHS and help, quote, get illegals and criminals out. His message comes just as Florida's new detention center, dubbed Alligator Alcatraz, is now up and running in the Everglades. By the way, Governor Ron DeSantis said that they did that. They built that facility in just 1 week and says a second is already being planned for Camp Blanding. All right, that's it for now. Hey, are you following us on X, Instagram, Facebook? Well, if you're not, you should be, because that's where we keep you informed on all things politics in Tallahassee and the nation's capital. Just head over to Florida's Voice, and you can check out some of our other stories that we're covering for you. That's flvoicenews.com. I'm Anita Padilla, the news director for Florida's Voice. Drew, back over to you.
All right, AP in the Florida's Voice newsroom, we appreciate you. And by the way, anytime you want to check out the podcast, you missed the program for some reason, or you want to listen 24/7, you can go to my website, drewsteele.com. Steele has 3 E's. Right there, you can see where the podcast is located. You can check it out. You can subscribe to the podcast, Florida's Voice, and do that today. All right, speaking of today, let's see if there's some interesting breaking news coming out here. Let's check this out. Well, this seems fascinating to me. Takeout with Major Garrett. CBS News 24/7. I guess it's what, their streaming channel or whatever it is or something like that. Major Garrett, one of those big lefty guys, and he's, I guess he's got someone who's doing an interview with Iran's foreign minister, reacting to the U.S. airstrikes on the Iranian nuclear facilities. I wonder if he can shed some light on exactly what happened there in his country. Let's listen to a little bit of this.
What we know so far is that the facilities have been seriously and heavily damaged.
President Trump has made it clear multiple times that Iran's nuclear facilities targeted in those U.S. strikes were, in his words, obliterated. Have they been obliterated?
It appears that they have been heavily and seriously damaged.
So it appears that they've been seriously and heavily damaged. Yeah, but Trump said obliterated. I mean, you're not going to say obliterated, are you? No, seriously and heavily damaged. See? So Trump's lying. Like, what was your angle with this? Like, is that your angle? What was your angle that the Iranian foreign minister, instead of saying that his nuclear facilities were obliterated, he said something else, seriously and heavily damaged. And that means that what, Trump was lying? I mean, is this the angle you're going with? So there was that. You got the lefties on CNN who yesterday were once again talking about, was this just a little while ago? Maybe it was a little while ago. It might have been last evening. They're talking about the possible New York City Mayor Mamdani and some of the things that he has said. It's interesting watching the left contort themselves into now, I guess, believing that they have somebody that, even though they know is a communist and a socialist and a Marxist, is probably going to win elections and possibly could go even further than New York City mayor, maybe being groomed for a bigger position into the future. And to keep this idea alive that maybe they have to get on board, maybe somebody knocked on the door and said, excuse me, all you major media outlets, you need to get on board with what we're thinking, right? And
so what are you saying?
I'm saying that maybe somebody like you or somebody in the Democrat Party might have a thing or two to say about who they should be talking about and how they should be talking about said person. So here is Scott Jennings on CNN. He's awesome. And talking about some of the things that he has literally said. Let's check this out.
We will not accept this intimidation.
But it would be illegal if he interfered with federal agents who were trying to enforce federal law, would it not?
He can tell city agencies, like the officers in the Department of Corrections, not to bring people over to ICE at Rikers. You can do that. You can't tell ICE what to do if you're in the mayor of the city of New York, but you can tell what your own departments to do, and it can make a big difference. I know that because I passed a bill when I was speaker that said that.
So you're saying that the position of the socialists here in New York now is that they should use city resources to interfere with the federal government's enforcement of the law?
Absolutely not. I'm saying the city resources shouldn't get involved in what the feds are doing. There's no reason that the city resources should make their jobs easier.
He's running, it's part of his platform. Do you support the platform or not? That's my question, is what's the position of the Democrats in New York? Are they going to follow this socialist trying to interfere with federal agents or not? What will the Democrats do? He's not trying to
interfere with federal agencies.
He's literally said it.
He literally said it. This is what they do. They're like, he didn't say anything like that. Can you play the tape back again? He said it. We're quoting what he said. Literally, exactly the way it is. It's amazing what they are willing to do and lie about. It's a continuous thing for them, the left in this country. So that's some of what just popped up on my feed. What else do we have going? Have we got any OBBB news? We need a cool, snappy theme song for that, like an OBBB theme. You know. Are you down? Hey, what about that? Are you down with OBBB? Yeah, you know me. No, never mind. That was just a bad thought. And for people that know what I was just doing and thinking, erase that from your memory. I know we can't erase it from the social media verse. If you're watching at FL Voice News on YouTube, Rumble X, and Facebook, oh well, it's done. What's done is done. All right, let's get to a little bit of what is the circus that is taking place right now. Who doesn't love a circus except when it's happening with Democrats on Capitol Hill? Here is a little bit of the circus leader, I guess, right? Isn't she if the Democrats are the circus on Capitol Hill, then the circus leader, or who's the person with the whip? Who is that? Dee's not back yet, right? I don't see him I don't see him on the other side of the glass. Dee, are you there on the other side of the glass? No, you're not, are you? What do they call that? The ringleader. Okay, right. So if the Democrats are the circus that is taking place on Capitol Hill with the one big beautiful bill, then doesn't it stand the reason that the ringleader in the circus is Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez? Because we've been told that AOC could be the next president of the United States, and she's gonna run or something like that, along with Gavin Newsom. That's a fun duo right there. So here's Representative AOC, who said today
of tax on tips. As one of the only people in this body who has lived off of tips, I want to tell you a little bit about the scam of that tax, a little bit of the fine print there.
Tell us.
The cap on that is $25,000. While you're jacking up taxes on people who make less than $50,000 across the United States.
Yeah, that's not happening. That's not what's going on at all.
While taking away their SNAP.
No.
While taking away their Medicaid.
But that's not happening.
While kicking them off of the ACA and their health care.
No.
So if you're at home and you're living off tips, you do the math. Is that worth it to you? Losing all your health care, not able to feed your babies, not being able to put a diaper on their bottom?
Whoa! No diapers on the bottom. All right, I stop with the no diapers on the bottom. We gotta diaper the bottoms. No. Okay, maybe she's got a point. I don't like that. They're all lies. But go ahead.
In exchange for what? This bill is a deal with the devil.
Oh, of course it is. Well, at least she didn't say anything like...
I don't see no stinking Nazis in here.
I mean, I don't want to hear that again, right? I mean, I didn't bring that up. So there you go. There's AOC, who was getting a little bit beside herself about the one big beautiful bill and distorting some of what she believes is happening or isn't happening, or is happening, but it's not happening. It's a mess. It's a circus. That's all I know. Without the elephants or anyway, the clowns. Well, no, they have the clowns. We just don't have the elephants, which stinks. By the way, speaking of people who I don't want to say that they're clowns because that's not nice. We should be kind. Speaking of people who have the wrong ideology but get a whole lot of attention. Speaking of people who hate the United States and say it openly and freely, this Ellie Mistel, who is always on MSNBC, was always on the Joy Reid show, but not anymore because Joy doesn't have a show. But she's got like this podcast, but Ellie Mistel shows up, and this person gets a lot of airtime. And obviously, they wouldn't get as much airtime if I would just ignore this and not play it. But I watch and I listen, so you don't have to. And you have to hear this. So again, this is somebody who has in the past and continues to get a lot of airtime on the fake news legacy media outlets, saying things like...
And I don't say this lightly, but our country needs to be sanctioned. We are the bad guys on the world stage. We are a menace to not only free people everywhere, but we are a menace to peaceful people everywhere.
Just so you understand, that is a position that is taken by just about every Democrat and lefty in media, and allowing someone like this to have a voice on those networks. And I'm only playing it, and I'm not going to play anymore because I really can't do this. Not when we're as close to the 250th anniversary of a nation that sort of gave you a whole lot. Ellie Mistel, if you don't mind me saying that. And so many others that I think it's important that people hear that every once in a while, to just see that when I here at Florida's Voice, personally me, and others across the social media universe, say things like, the left hates this country. Don't take my word for it. Take the word from the left, who literally says it. And I hate to use the word literally, but it's actually coming out of their mouth. I'm not making it up. It's not AI. It's not anything like that. It's happening. They are telling us what they think They're telling you who they are. And when we come back in a little bit, let's bring it closer to home. How about the state of Florida? How about Democrat Representative Maxwell Frost, who for some reason seems to get a lot of pub for all the wrong reasons? Well, I believe it's all the wrong reasons. For him, it's great because he's a lefty and he's letting everybody know. And he's also another one of those people who represents an area of Central Florida who is, I guess, expressing what they're thinking as well. Wait till you hear what he said. The furious backlash in a committee hearing last night on the One Big Beautiful Bill, and it got tense. And it should. Because wait till you hear what he said. And I wonder if his constituents in Central Florida, if they back him up on the things that he has been saying. Because it doesn't get any more outrageous than what he said last night. I'll play the audio coming up. It's Florida's Voice.
You're listening to Florida's Voice with Drew Steele.
Babes, what are you doing?
What? I'm just mowing the lawn.
No, it's blazing hot and dry out here. Don't you remember? Smokey Bear says.
Avoid using power equipment when it's windy or dry.
Where'd you learn this?
Oh, it's on
SmokeyBear.com with many other wildfire prevention tips.
Right. Thanks, honey bear.
Because remember, only you can prevent wildfires.
Brought to you by the USDA Forest Service, your state forester, and the Ad Council.
All right, son. Time to put out this campfire.
Dad, we learned about this in school.
Oh, did you now? Okay. What's first?
Smokey Bear said to.
First drown it with a bucket of water, then stir it with a shovel.
Wow, you sound just like him.
Then he said.
If it's still warm, then do it again.
Where can I learn all this?
It's all on SmokeyBear.com with other wildfire prevention tips, because only you can prevent wildfires.
Brought to you by the USDA Forest Service, your state forester, and the Ad Council.
You know, a lot of times you have to choose between something high quality or something that saves you money. But if you could get both, why not? Especially when it comes to health care, and that is MediShare. You get both. Many families save $500 a month with MediShare, and that's huge. But it's also true that people wind up way more satisfied, too. The member satisfaction rate for MediShare is double that of the typical health insurance plan. Double. That's because MediShare works. It has for more than 30 years. It's a community of Christians who have shared more than $5 billion of each other's bills. People love having telehealth. They love the huge PPO network. So, yeah, really, you can save a ton and like it better. Imagine being happy with how you're taking care of your health care. So if you're self-employed or part of the gig economy, or you just want a plan you're happy with, you can call right now and get a price in 2 minutes. Here's the number. Just call 855-SHARE-40. That's 855-SHARE-40. 855-SHARE-40.
Hey, it's Drew Steele. Look, if you're looking to take advantage of today's pro-business environment and strengthen your financial future, certified financial planner professional Alfie Townsend and his team at Advantage Retirement Group have got you covered. They specialize in advanced tax strategies, risk management, and retirement planning, all aimed at helping high net worth investors like you thrive. Now, Alfie wants to share those insights with you with his book, Keeping You on the Retirement Fairway. It's packed with practical tips and forward-thinking strategies to help you make the most out of your hard-earned wealth. Ready to get your free copy? Text BOOK to 239-747-7470. That's 239-747-7470. Don't wait. Learn how to capitalize on that pro-business opportunities that are out there right now and secure the confident retirement you deserve. Once again, text BOOK to 239-747-7470 right now, and let Alfie Townsend and Advantage Retirement Group help guide you toward a stronger, more confident financial future.
We're with Bridget, whose husband won't be home for months and whose daughter is due any day. We're with Mike, who's leaving home to protect his family and yours. We're with all service members and their families who need community, connection, and maybe a bit of magic. Are you with them? Learn more at uso.org today. We're with Liam after his 4th military move, when being new is starting to get old. We're with Tara during the holidays, when she misses home the most. We're with all service members and their families who need connection, comfort, and a home away from home. Are you with them? Learn more at uso.org today.
Now, back to Florida's Voice with Drew Steele.
Hey, don't forget, anytime you want to check out the podcast, Florida's Voice, the podcast, you can go to my website, drewsteele.com. Steele has 3 E's right there. You can check it out. Obviously, it's on all the usual places where you find your podcast. And you can also listen 24/7. So for some reason, if you missed the program, drewsteele.com. The Steele has 3 E's. And also anytime you want to watch it, FL Voice News on YouTube, Rumble, X, and Facebook. We are getting closer and closer to the finish line as more votes, we are being told, to get to the next stage in the House of Representatives on what is the one big beautiful bill. It's looking better and better. People starting to come together. I guess some of the conversations behind the scenes are working out. And it's also nice when the left-leaning media is losing their minds. Here's Jim Jordan one-on-one on CNN just a little while ago, and the question being asked, what is it?
And I do want to ask you, in that context, it is Freedom Caucus members who are very concerned about this bill. I'm old enough to remember when, if there was a bill on the floor that added this much to our debt and deficit, I cannot imagine you would have been happy about it in those years. And yet, you have been approaching this a little bit differently. What is your message to your colleagues in that group right now?
Look, we all wish it'd save more money, but you know this is a good bill, and I tell people all the time, you know it's a good piece of legislation because every single Democrat hates it.
He's not wrong, everybody. It's true.
And the reason they hate it is because this bill actually empowers Americans. It empowers families. It cuts their taxes. It keeps their taxes low. It says to the hardworking people who are working and getting tips, we're not going to tax those tips. It says to parents, we're going to give you school choice in our tax code. It says the border that's now secure under President Trump, we're going to allocate resources to keep it secure. And maybe most importantly, or as importantly, is it says to hardworking American families who are paying for all this government, for people who are getting a benefit in the welfare system, if they're able-bodied adults, guess what? Now, from now on, they're going to have to work. So I think it's good for all those common sense, fundamental Republican principles. That's why the Democrats don't like it. While it doesn't cut enough spending, I get it, but we got small majorities, and this is probably as good as it's going to get. So I am certainly for this piece of legislation.
Well, there you go. Doesn't cut as much as it should. He's certainly for it. And one of the things that we have to deal with, and the reality of which we all have to understand, is if this doesn't work out, if for some reason through these committee hearings in some way, shape, or form, this thing stumbles, it doesn't get across the finish line by July 4th, it drags on for another couple of weeks, ping-ponging back and forth between the Senate and the House, and it starts to get ugly, and the president gets frustrated, and it's a bad look for everybody, every Republican, for the country, that understand that on the other side of that, of it not happening, will be an explosion in debt and deficits, an explosion of our taxes because the 2017 tax cuts go away. Everything changes. I mean, there are things that make it mandatory that this has to happen. And if it doesn't, it's going to be ugly. And every single Democrat knows it. And they will be able to jump up and down and champion. Think about this. The Democrats across the state and across the country will be able to cheer and feel good about your taxes exploding, debts and deficits through the roof, and probably the economy being hurt, damaged, people's livelihoods, jobs, any kind of growth. Who knows what will happen along the southern border? Who knows what will take place? Like, they're going to cheer bad things happening to the country, which will inevitably happen. Well, isn't the spending, isn't that bad? Yeah. But I would say in the short term, it's going to be a lot worse than what we're about to feel if it were not to pass. All right, we can talk about that more coming up. My name is Drew Steele. This is Florida's Voice.
You're listening to Florida's Voice with Drew Steele.
It's 4 a.m., Monday, and you're literally sucking baby snot through a tube because she's congested. Man, that's love. And if you love her that much, love her enough to make sure she's buckled in the right car seat. To make sure your child's in the right seat for their age and size, visit nhtsa.gov/the right seat. Show them you love them. Keep them safe. Visit nhtsa.gov/the right seat. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council. You let him try violin because you love him. And if you love him that much, love him enough to make sure he's buckled up and in the back seat. Find out more at nhtsa.gov/the right seat. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
I don't think that many kids in my son's school even do it.
No way.
No way. No way. No way. My kid would never vape.
Get your head out of the cloud. Talk to your kid about vaping. Visit talkaboutvaping.org.
You're listening to Florida's Voice with Drew Steele. Florida's Voice with Drew Steele.
Congratulations on your show.
Congratulations on your new show. Big deal, huh?
That's why shows like yours are so important. We have an independent county elected sheriff that's head of law enforcement in Jacksonville/Duval County. And I know how to work toward making this city safe.
We can't be shy about speaking on things such as faith and politics. We have to remember, in a free society, the public square belongs to all of us.
I'm not interested in North Florida looking like Orlando or Miami. I love where we live, but I think that good jobs means that people that live in this district can stay in this district.
Fishing and hunting is funding a large part of your conservation projects in Florida, and we want to make sure that those are forever preserved.
And the problem with this industry at this point is that they actually target our youth. You can see it in their marketing strategies where it's bright colors, fun names.
And that's going to be endlessly litigated.
Florida's Voice with Drew Steele.
Hey, it's Drew Steele. Look, are you still playing defense with your money? Now might be the perfect time to go on offense and seize the opportunities presented by the new pro-business environment ushered in by President Trump and his administration. That's exactly what certified financial planner professional Alfie Townsend and his team at Advantage Retirement Group do for high net worth investors like you. They create strategies designed to help manage taxes, control risks, and boost your financial confidence. It's a forward-thinking approach that can strengthen your foundation so you can enjoy the lifestyle you've worked so hard to achieve. If you're ready to see how Alfie's team can help elevate your plan, call or text VISIT to 239-747-7470. Again, text VISIT to 239-747-7470. Schedule your one-on-one consultation today and discover proactive strategies to help you thrive in an ever-changing world. Again, text VISIT to 239-747-7470. Don't wait. Let Alfie Townsend and the Advantage Retirement Group team guide you toward a stronger, more confident financial future.
I've been dipping snuff for well over 30 years. You know, I could wake up in the morning and have a weird lump in my gums. Guess it's like playing Russian roulette, really. I would love grandchildren. And if by quitting it extends my life some, I would gladly lay it down.
Visit tobaccofreeflorida.com to find free resources to help you quit your way.
Today, push harder, push forward, push vigorously. There are things that I am hiding from people that I'm trying to inspire. You can do whatever you set your mind to. I feel like a hypocrite a lot of the times. Don't give up on yourself ever. Smoking, I hide it because I'm ashamed of it. I want to get out of the shadow. I want to show people there is light away from the darkness. I am going to quit.
Visit tobaccofreeflorida.com to find free resources to help you quit your way.
We're with Bridget, whose husband won't be home for months and whose daughter is due any day. We're with Mike, who's leaving home to protect his family and yours. We're with all service members and their families who need community, connection, and maybe a bit of magic. Are you with them? Learn more at uso.org today. We're with Liam after his 4th military move, when being new is starting to get old. We're with Tara during the holidays, when she misses home the most. We're with all service members and their families who need connection, comfort, and a home away from home. Are you with them? Learn more at USO.org today.
Hey, it's Drew Steele, and you know I love the Floor Meisters in Naples. Locally family-owned business, 3 generations of Meisters. Listen, what are you looking for? Carpet, tile, hardwood, a Core-Tech? Maybe that's what you're looking for. And why don't we talk to TJ Meister right now of the Floor Meisters and find out what's going on with Core-Tech. What's up, TJ?
Well, we're just keeping up with the demand for Core-Tech. Just had to order a truck and bring it in from the west coast of the United States to keep up with all the needs and wants of the people of Southwest Florida. Somebody doesn't have it, give me a call. I probably do.
I tell you, I love my Core-Tech floor. People love it. What is it about it that makes it so awesome?
Well, it's waterproof, kid-proof, pet-proof. So if you got a pool, no problem. If you got a dog, no problem. If you got a husband that spills, no problem.
Floor Meisters, that's who I trust, and you should as well. 6281 Naples Boulevard in Naples. 239-596-4964 for the Floor Meisters.
Let's see, if something costs less, a lot less, but people are actually happier with it, that sounds like something to look into, and that's MetaShare. Maybe you've heard joining MetaShare can save you or your family up to $500 a month, and that's huge, but it's also true. People are just happier with it. They love being part of something that reflects and promotes their values and what they believe in. MetaShare works, too. It's been around for 30 years now, and members have shared more than $7 billion of each other's bills. People love having telehealth and a huge nationwide PPO network, so yeah, really, you can save a ton and like it better. Imagine being happy with how you're taking care of your health care, whether you're self-employed or part of the gig economy, or you just want a plan that you're happy with. Here you go. You can call right now and get a price within 2 minutes. A very, very smart use of 2 minutes. Here's the number you need. It's 855-SHARE-40. 855-SHARE-40. 855-SHARE-40.
Thank you for waking us all up out here, for all you do.
Thank you for giving us the voice.
For being out there helping keep the constitutional republic. I want to thank you for your support for veterans in the military. Educating us. Standing up for conservatism. Giving us the truth.
Florida's Voice with Drew Steele.
Oh, hi. Hey, didn't see you standing there. Hey, thanks for joining us today on Florida's Voice. My name is Drew Steele, Big D on the other side of the glass, and Nina's in the breaking newsroom, and you hanging out with us at FL Voice News on YouTube, Rumble, X, and Facebook. Don't forget about the podcast. If you want to check out the show at your convenience, you can go get it at wherever you find your podcasts, Florida's Voice, and you can go to my website, drewsteele.com. The website Steele has 3 E's. You can get it from there. And you can also listen to the show at your convenience. All right. How are we looking? Where we stand? Where are we at? Just a little while ago. So now it says, I heard a little while ago that it looks like we have the votes to get this thing moving through the House. And now I see a chyron from Fox Business just a minute ago that the House GOP is stuck in pre-test procedural vote. What in the world's going on here? I don't know. Let's listen to the Speaker of the House saying,
we can't make everyone 100% happy. It's impossible. This is a deliberative body. It's a legislative process. By definition, all of us have to give up on our personal preferences. I never going to ask anybody to compromise core principles, but preferences must be yielded for the greater good, and that's what I think people are recognizing and come to grips with.
Wow, so people are recognizing right now and coming to grips with the fact that you can't always get what you want. Do you have any idea what that is? Now, if I do that, do you know what that is?
But if you try sometime,
right? You just might find. I know somebody had that on their social media the other day. They had a little clip of the Rolling Stones and Mick Jagger, and back in the I want to say it was the late 60s when they were doing one of these shows where they actually performed the song live instead of lip syncing it. And Mick Jagger back in the day, it was crazy watching him perform. Have you ever watched like the 60s version of Mick Jagger when the TVs finally had color and you see all the outfits and everything, and Mick Jagger performing on one of those TV shows? Have you ever seen that, D?
Nope.
No. I wish I could find the video, but I can't because we got to move on. So anyway, you can't always get what you want. But at the end, you'll get one big, beautiful bill, and you get what you need. Is that the theme? Is that where we're rolling to? Is that coming up? Hopefully. Maybe that's what we're going to see. I don't know. I do know that there are plenty of people who get a little stressed out about the process. There's one person in particular who got a little too stressed out, I think, and might have to do some apologizing. The problem is this individual won't apologize because it's pretty much where they've stood for the longest time politically. And that's Democrat Representative Maxwell Frost, who said something last night that I couldn't believe. And good for Republicans for being upset, furious about what he said. So they're in committee. They're hearing about the House rules, and they're talking about what will be coming up next. And they're going over. It's late. I think it was like midnight. C-SPAN is carrying it, of course. And they're talking about the one big beautiful bill. And, you know, Democrats are going to Democrat. That's what they do. So they're going to do their thing. And you know what that means. They're going to be unhinged because it's the only thing that they have. They're never going to tell the American people what they're for or the good things that they can do. Because, funny enough, you were all rejected only a few months ago. Almost a year ago. But anyway, I digress. Here's Democrat Representative Maxwell Frost, who says during this committee last night.
Yeah, see, they say they're pro-life.
Talking about Republicans, right?
Yeah, see, they say they're pro-life because they want the baby to be born, go to school, and get shot in the school. Die in the school, die on the streets. No. That is what they say.
What? Yes, he said that. And you could see, if you're watching at FL Voice News on YouTube, Rumble X, and Facebook, you can look to Maxwell Frost's right, and you see a man in bewilderment. Like, he didn't really just say this, did he?
I'm not going to say anything. You've gone over the cliff.
I moved to strike his words.
Over the cliff. Wait. You've gone over. We were going to be quiet, but you've gone over now.
I meant every word.
I meant every word.
We are going to strike your words.
So this is the Republican who is the head of the House Rules Committee.
But on the other hand, it might be good to leave your words. Might be good to leave your words. Because that's how you feel. But you are not going to come into this room and impugn our integrity.
Yeah, he just did.
You will not.
Nothing. Just a stare down. Not going to change his mind. And I just wonder, you know, Central Florida, Democrat representative in the House of Representatives, like, is that what you honestly think? Do you side with what he says? They say they're pro-life because they want the baby to be born, to go to school and get shot in the school, die in the school, die on the streets. That is a horrible, horrific thing to say. And no apology. And does he go back to his constituents and get applauded for something like that? Just absolutely outrageous. And the left in this country and the left in this state, all you Floridians, you lefties out there in the state of Florida, is that something you agree with? Are you all about that kind of rhetoric? Like, you think that's a good thing? You want more of that? I mean, you already have it. It's so outrageous. All right. I'm going to step away from that. Let's talk about something positive. Can we talk about something positive? Yeah, let's talk about the governor of the state of Florida, Ron DeSantis, had a couple of things to say today. The 250th anniversary celebrations getting ready to take place, celebrating America's 250th. Jefferson County here in the state of Florida unveiling a new statue of Thomas Jefferson. That's how you do it. You don't tear them down, you build them up. What a beautiful thing. And as he is there and talking about the celebration that is about to come, our 250th, he did bring up some things that I love. And I love that he's talking about this. You know, teaching the youths of America. You know what I'm saying.
Did you say youths?
I did. and those civics lessons and the debates that need to take place.
We provide that for these teachers to be able to go. We've also done civics and debate initiative. Every county in Florida now has the civics and debate where they do these contests. I think it was like 7 counties out of 67 had it 6 years ago. So now we have all of them do, and we host the national debate in Orlando usually every year. But you know, the thing about debate, yes, it's important. If you can get comfortable speaking in front of people, that is a good skill to have in life, and it's not easy. And you know, you get used to it after a while. I mean, you know, a lot of people like in Corey's chamber love to hear themselves talk, and they talk a lot.
Talking about Corey Mills, I think he's talking about the House of Representatives. Is that what he's talking about?
And so some people really like to, but not everyone's comfortable. So I think it's good to get young people comfortable, get on your feet, and be able to make a point and make an argument. And especially in an age where everyone's buried in their phones.
Yep.
And thinks that that's the way you communicate and deal with other people. No, actually, the way you deal with people is in the flesh, and that can't become a lost art. So I do think that that's important. But I also think in terms of sharpening people's mind, the good thing about speech and debate is you're given a topic, and then they tell you which side you have to argue. So, for example, I'm a big believer in term limits for Congress, and I think we need it. And I've gone around the country and helped other states do what Florida's done to try to push forward on it. But maybe I get assigned to argue against term limits. Now, I personally don't find the arguments very persuasive, but it would cause me to have to maybe get out of my cocoon a little bit, look at an issue from somebody else's perspective, and then make some arguments about why something that I personally believe deeply in actually, what are the counter arguments to that? How can you articulate something?
Yeah, but that's so hard. It's easier to just burn and destroy things. Can we just burn and loot stuff? I mean, that's just so much easier if we take certain sides of things. It's yeah, you know. Anyway, it's the great Governor Ron DeSantis, the state of Florida, talking about civics and debate, how we have that here and how important it is, and the communication with people, the communication away from technology, and being able to talk to people one-on-one and not be afraid to have conversation like that. You know, I was talking to my son the other day about this. D, I don't know if D, are you, I can't see you on the other side of the glass. Are you there? I can't.
Here I am.
Okay, you are there. I couldn't see you, sorry. Well, he gets busy in his technology, and there's a lot of work to do over there. But I had this conversation with my son, and I wonder what you think about this. And I don't know if we've had this conversation before or not on the air, but I think the people that will rule the world in the future are the ones who are stepping away from tech. The kids that will rule the world in the future are the ones who will be able to think fast for themselves, who will be able to deduct different questions that are going on in the world and be able to think on their feet, to communicate one-on-one. If for no other reason that those people, those kids who grow up into adults, will be able to look people eye to eye, one-on-one, be able to communicate when other kids can't because they're so busy in their electronic devices. Half the time they're not even seeing their friends. They're not meeting other people. They're just doing it online. So you lose that. It becomes a lost art. So the people that will rule the day, the ones that will rule in business, the ones that will rule the world, the countries, next president of the United States, 20, 30, 40 years from now, will be the ones that step away from technology, learn about civics, learn how to debate, have all of that stuff up here. And I know there are some people that are like, well, really, do we have to? I mean, all I have to do is go to ChatGPT or Grok or whatever, and I can look at anything I want. I can have it tell me what to think, or I can have it do the work for me. Why should I? And I'm just saying that you'll see. I don't know, D, does that sound crazy?
It's fair. I wouldn't call it crazy. It's fair. I don't know if I 100% agree, but you do bring up a great point.
So, well, all right. So tell me, let's debate and discuss. We've got a couple of minutes. I'd love to get your thought on that. Why is it? Do you think because...
I just think technology has such a big impact, and tech itself has such a big impact on moving things forward, that it might take a combination of people who step away and keep using it in some source.
Right. But
I still think it's going to be needed to move things forward, obviously.
Yeah.
But I do believe people who are stepping away from it can still be just as successful, if not more.
I just wonder how many people straddle that line. How many people straddle the line of, I'll do a little bit of tech, but I'll mostly be with people unless they're forced to. And as kids, you got to start at a young age, because if they're not learning young to get away from the tech and they're at it 24/7, there won't be any straddling the line. So that's why you have to make sure that's kind of the point I was making. And the other part is was it you that brought up that movie, or is it other people who have brought up that movie to me when I describe something like this? They always say, well, that's the movie, blah, 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 about, I guess, somebody who's not very smart, like falls asleep and wakes up in the future and everybody's like on tech devices.
Seeing as I can't think of the movie, I doubt it was me who brought it up.
All right, yeah, I forget what it's called. I don't know, Nina, you're big on movies. Go look that up. There's a movie about a dude who goes into the future and then realizes that everybody's just a bunch of dummies. And he's not the most intelligent guy on the block, but he knows how to speak and he just knows stuff in general. And so even if he didn't have tech, he becomes like president or something, rules the world or gets rich or something like that. All right, I don't know. Oh, wait, we got a little bit of breaking news here. Hold on a second. Bing, bing, bong, bong, bing, bing, bing. Yeah, I know, the breaking news sounder's got to get a little better somehow. Alligator Alcatraz is bringing hundreds of illegals tonight. The nation's most efficient state detention center is open for business, everybody. So it is it's a done deal. It's going to be happening. That's Eric Doherty, our own Eric Doherty, Eric L. Daw on X. Follow him. He's a great follow. So there it is. Tonight, they will be there. How about that? You like apples? How about them apples? So, good stuff happening. Do we have any new news on... Yep, there it is. All right, so Alligator Alcatraz will be checking in hundreds of criminal illegals tonight. Next stop, back to where they came from. That was the Attorney General, James Uthmeyer, just a few minutes ago, who put that out on his X account. So, yep, the official go-ahead, and it is, it's on the way. I'm just trying to see if there's any new news, anything breaking with the One Big Beautiful Bill. Do we have anything on that? So we'll just... we'll keep an eye and see how all of that is shaken out. All right, some of the other things that we're watching here at Florida's Voice include, let's see, do I want to start with this one or do I want to start with that one? I want to start with this one. We have a lot of things that are going on in the country, and there's a lot of things that are happening around the world, and there's a lot of things that are happening in your world, in your life, things that are going on with you, and you get really busy, and sometimes things happen with you, and there'll be stumbles in your life, and it'll get into your rearview mirror, and instead of fixing or working on those things, or instead of addressing those things, the car's moving forward, and further away, that thing in your life becomes part of the rear view mirror. It's just gone. But there's times when that thing in the rear view mirror has to be solved because you're going to come up to the next stop and that thing that's in your rear view mirror is going to be right in front of you once again. And because you didn't solve it the first time, it's going to rear its ugly head again. Now, if you're sitting there or standing there or driving and you're like, what in the world is this guy talking about? Because it's the first time you've tuned into the program. Thank you so much. I appreciate you being here. Where am I going with this? New documents reveal that FBI Director Chris Wray, the old FBI director at the time, blocked a probe into a CCP plan, a Chinese Communist Party plan to rig the election for Biden because it would contradict his testimony. Wait, what? The New York Post had the story. He said there's no foreign voter fraud effort while knowing that there was a Chinese Communist Party plot in 2020. Here's Christopher Wray, back when he was the FBI director, under oath, talking about such things. Check this out.
The intelligence community's consensus is that Russia continues to try to influence our elections, primarily through what we would call malign foreign influence.
The Russia hoax, you know.
As opposed to what we saw in 2016, where there was also an effort to target election infrastructure, cyber targeting. We have not seen that second part yet this year or this cycle, but we certainly have seen very active efforts by the Russians to influence our election in 2020 through what I would call more the malign foreign influence side of things. Social media, use of proxies, state media, online journals, et cetera, an effort to both sow divisiveness and discord. And I think the intelligence community has assessed this publicly, primarily to denigrate Vice President Biden and what the Russians see as kind of an anti-Russian establishment.
Let me just stop. That whole time that he was talking about Russia, and going after Joe Biden. Well, now we come to find out, thanks to the great work that is being done by the Department of Justice, by the FBI, by others, he blocked a probe into what was a plan by the Chinese Communist Party to rig the election for Biden because it would contradict what he was saying there in that testimony that you were just listening to. Remember the whole car in the rear view mirror thing, and you left that thing over there only to find out that you didn't take care of it, and if you don't, then when it comes back up again, you're like, why did it come back up again? Because the thing you left in the rear view mirror you thought was just too far gone and not to worry about it anymore never got solved, never got fixed. We're going to have to see in the next year and a half, and maybe 3.5, if you will, people getting indicted. We need indictments. We need people charged with crimes. We need things to happen. Because if they don't, they won't stop. There has to be consequences to actions like this. And just like Deputy Director Bongino has said before, listen, we're getting things done. There's things happening behind the scenes, but it's a slow process. Well, we all are patient and we believe in them, of course, but I hope something happens soon. All right. Yeah, think about things happening like, I don't know, it's Florida and your air conditioning going out. Can you imagine? I don't even want to think about that. The summers are excruciatingly hot. They're not horrible. It's Florida. It's summertime. That's what happens. But we have to make sure that our air conditioning is running properly. That's why I would suggest you get a hold of Strata Air Conditioning and Heating. They're here when you need them, of course. And there's definitely a need if your AC unit is like 10 years or older, let's just say, and you're concerned about it running efficiently. Maybe it needs a tune-up, a Strata AC tune-up, and get that thing running right. Maybe it's just time to replace it. You just have to do it. There's no choice. Well, Strata is committed to 5-star customer service, and they show up fast. They do the job right. I would suggest you check out the website, strataac.com. That's strataac.com. You can schedule an appointment, find out exactly what's going on with your unit. You'll get the text confirmation to let you know that everything is good to go. And then you'll be able to track the tech as they're making their way to your house, which is very cool. STRADAAC.com. That's STRADAAC.com, StrataAC.com. You oughta call Strata. License number is CACO 43953. All right, let's take a break. I think the music's going to kick in just a second. And when it does, we'll be out. And then we'll be back with the top 5 audio clips of the day. We do it each and every day at 5:35. By the way, we are live 3 to 6 p.m. each and every day, Monday through Friday. Anytime you want to check out the podcast, you can go to my website, drewsteele.com. Steele has 3 E's. It's at all your favorite podcast locations. Florida's Voice with Drew Steele.
You're listening to Florida's Voice with Drew Steele.
Chris Jakimick. I served in the United States Air Force and I deployed 3 times. Being a veteran, it's interwoven into your DNA, is really the absence of the connection and the purpose that can really drive a lot of veterans to some negative thoughts. For those who are in a suicidal crisis, the window of time to save somebody's life is very short. Our duty is to protect ourselves and protect our families, and one way you can do that is store your weapons safely. Store all your guns securely. Help stop suicide.
Brought to you by End Family Fire and the Ad Council.
Hey, it's Drew Steele, and I have to tell you, when my wife and I talked about getting new kitchen countertops for our house, we know who to call. Rock Solid Countertops and More, 2240 J&C Boulevard in Naples. And they have been absolutely amazing. Hugo and the team are the best. The workmanship has been absolutely incredible. The install was so easy. The process was perfect. Taking everything out, bringing the new stuff in. The quartz countertop is unbelievably beautiful, and my wife is super happy, I'll tell you. You know they have the best quality and selection of marble, quartz, granite, and a one-stop shop for all of your kitchen, outdoor, and bathroom needs. I've known it for years. I've lived in Southwest Florida 40 years. There was really only one place I was going to go. It's Rock Solid Countertops and More. I would suggest you give them a call, 596-7676. They're at 2240 J&C Boulevard in Naples. Find out what they can do for you. Countertops, cabinets, plantation shutters, they do it all. Rock Solid Countertops and More.
Let's see, if something costs less, a lot less, but people are actually happier with it, that sounds like something to look into, and that's MediShare. Maybe you've heard joining MediShare can save you or your family up to $500 a month, and that's huge, but it's also true. People are just happier with it. They love being part of something that reflects and promotes their values and what they believe in. MediShare works, too. It's been around for 30 years now, and members have shared more than $7 billion of each other's bills. People love having telehealth and a huge nationwide PPO network, so yeah, really, you can save a ton and like it better. Imagine being happy with how you're taking care of your health care, whether you're self-employed or part of the gig economy, or you just want a plan that you're happy with. Here you go. You can call right now and get a price within 2 minutes. A very, very smart use of 2 minutes. Here's the number you need. It's 855-SHARE-40. 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 855-SHARE-40.
Since the dawn of time, man and wildlife have shared a connection, and hunting traditions passed down from generation to generation have connected man to the natural world, from bow and arrow to hook and bullet. As man evolved, our link to those traditions remain with them forever. Yet today, our basic instinct to provide and as part of the hunt to conserve and appreciate the natural world has fallen under attack for the first time in human history. The misguided politicians and radical activists pushing an agenda to end hunting as we know it, or leading a war against our heritage and their misguided policies and protests. They demonize hunters and belittle our way of life, the results of hunters leaving the sport in droves, while our wildlife and ecosystems suffer the consequences as conservation funding dries up. Named after the father of the North American model for wildlife conservation, the International Order of T. Roosevelt is fighting in the arena to protect and expand the rights of hunters everywhere. We will fight back against these forces to make sure that every American has a right to hunt, enshrined in their state constitutions. We will educate the next generation in our traditions and seek to expand accessibility so that everyone can enjoy our pastimes. And we will continue to hold true to our namesake's efforts to protect, preserve, and ensure open access to our nation's wild lands. Teddy Roosevelt's vision for American conservation defines our modern hunting and conservation system, a system upheld by the idea that conservation efforts are crucial to our hunting way of life, and that hunters are crucial to successful conservation.
To some, the sound of a baby babbling doesn't mean much, but that's not true. They're testing out vowels and consonants and trying different sounds. And by 12 months, their babbling is beginning to take on meaning, especially if there's no babbling at all. Little to no babbling by 12 months or later is just one of the possible signs of autism in children. Learn more at autismspeaks.org.
Hey, it's Drew Steele. Look, are you still playing defense with your money? It's time to shift gears and seize the fresh opportunities this new pro-business environment has to offer. That's exactly what certified financial planner professional Alfie Townsend and the team at Advantage Retirement Group do for high net worth investors like you, helping you go on the offense with advanced tax strategies, thoughtful risk management, and forward-thinking financial planning. Imagine enjoying the retirement lifestyle you've worked so hard to achieve, all while staying one step ahead, and in a changing world, you've got to do it. Alfie and his team design personalized strategies to strengthen your financial foundation so you can focus on living life on your terms. Ready to find out more? Text VISIT to 239-747-7470. Again, you can call or text 239-747-7470. Schedule your one-on-one consultation today and see how a proactive approach can help you thrive no matter what the market does next. Don't wait. Call or text VISIT to 239-747-7470 right now.
Now, back to Florida's Voice with Drew Steele.
All right, anytime you want to check out the show, maybe you missed it, you can listen 24/7 at my website, drewsteele.com. You can also go there to check out the podcast, which is available on all your favorite podcast outlets. And anytime you want to watch it, FL Voice News on YouTube, Rumble, X, and Facebook. All right, boy, there's a lot. This was tough. All right, here we go. 5:35. Top 5 audio clips of the day. It's my top 5.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. This is Drew's top 5. Number 5.
Well, but what about the Medicaid cuts? I mean, the Democrats have obviously made a lot about that politically, but just in reality, Secretary Rollins, there is concern about what it means for rural communities.
I know the Senate really leaned into that as well, but here's what I know, and I've got many, many years of working in public policy, not just in agriculture. The Medicaid program itself is very broken. You have states that under the weight of Medicaid are going bankrupt. You have big, huge parts of the program that are unworkable. There will never be a time in this country where people won't have access to health care, but we have to do better with the programs that we have, and Medicaid is one of those, similar to the SNAP program, food stamps, and that's what the president's vision is, what our White House, what Senate and House Republicans, is that this is an opportunity to actually realign, to adjust, to reform, and to ensure that we're doing it the right way and making sure those programs serve the right people.
That is Agriculture Secretary Brooke Rollins there on CNBC talking about the issue of Medicaid that the Democrats keep bringing up over and over and over again. And like she said, look, number one, the Senate did deal with the rural issue, the parts of the country, the rural sections of the country that have different needs, and the Senate dealt with that. Even Scott Jennings yesterday, CNN, we played the audio of him explaining to people on the network how that was part of the Senate bill. They knew, they understood there would be issues there, and they've taken care of that in their version of the bill. But then she also says, look, there's not going to be a time in this country where people won't have access to health care. That's right. But we have to do better with the programs we have, and Medicaid is one of them, and she's absolutely right. And, you know, to some people, it's just hyperbolic, a way to demagogue the issue and to scare people, and we're not doing that.
Number 4.
And I don't say this lightly, but our country needs to be sanctioned. We are the bad guys on the world stage. We are a menace to not only free people everywhere, but we are a menace to peaceful people everywhere at this point. And I'm not even going to say that we've only been a menace for the past 3 or 4 months.
I can't do it. So that is Ellie Mistel. Now, you may be saying, Ellie who? I know. I don't know either. But Ellie Mistel gets a whole lot of time on MSNBC and was also right there on the Joy Reid show. Joy Reid's got a show. I know. Who knew? Nobody did. But Joy Reid's got a podcast and a place where she continues, like MSNBC does, to spew some of the most hateful rhetoric, because that's what Democrats do. And there's one. Our country is the bad guy on the world stage. The world needs to stand against America and sanction us. No, I'm good. If you want that, maybe you should figure out a place where you could go, where you can be in a different area of the world, and then say, hey, sanction me like crazy. Go ahead right here. Here I am, because stop.
Number 3.
What we know so far is that the facilities have been seriously and heavily damaged.
President Trump has made it clear multiple times that Iran's nuclear facilities targeted in those U.S. strikes were, in his words, obliterated. Have they been obliterated?
It appears that they have been heavily and seriously damaged.
All right, let me just stop right there. So that was a double shot of the same thing that the Iranian foreign minister was saying, reacting to the U.S. airstrikes on Iran's nuclear facility. And it was funny because the way the big lefty over there at CBS News 24/7 put it, President Trump, he said it was obliterated. What do you say about that? It was seriously and heavily damaged. But it wasn't obliterated, was it? It was seriously heavily damaged. I mean, that's kind of sort of the same thing, isn't it? What are you trying to say? And what are you trying to do to me right now? So is that like CBS News who's trying to make it seem like it's not as bad as the president said? I don't know. Seriously, the way he described it and the damage that he has described sounds to me like they're in some trouble.
Number 2.
Yeah, see, they say they're pro-life because they want the baby to be born, go to school, and get shot in the school. Die in the school, die on the streets. No. That is what they say.
I'm not going to say anything, but you've gone over the cliff.
I move to strike his words.
Over the cliff.
Wait, you've gone over. We were going to be quiet, but you've gone over now.
I meant every word.
I meant every word. So that is the Democrat representative in the House from Central Florida, Maxwell Frost, who during a House Rules Committee meeting last night, late night, and as they're debating back and forth, somehow pivoted to pro-life individuals in the Republican Party. And he says they're pro-life because they want the baby to be born, go to school, and then get shot in the school, die in school, die on the streets. That is some of the most horrible rhetoric coming from a representative, and that's saying a lot, that I've heard in a very long time. And is anybody going to say anything about it in his district, or is that how they feel as well?
Number 1.
Are the doctors caucus? Democratic doctors caucus. We have cared for the sickest patients in our communities. As physicians, we didn't care if someone was a Democrat or a Republican.
All right, let me just stop here because there are people who are driving in the car right now or listening to the sound of my voice, maybe even on a podcast right now. And they're like, what is that? Well, let me describe the scene for you. And if you're watching at FL Voice News on YouTube, Rumble X, and Facebook, you understand the hilarity that ensued when Democratic Doctors Caucus got together. They're all wearing white coats, which means they're doctors because, nobody would walk around and wear a white coat for no reason or make believe or stretch the truth. Anyway, so there they are in front of Speaker of the House Mike Johnson's office, while people are walking by, not listening to a single word that they're saying. It's so perfect.
Drew's Top 5.
Oh, man, you got to admit. I wish I could play more, because obviously people that are driving, they can't get the whole D. Is that not come on, is that not the funniest thing? Watching everybody just walk by them as they're this prepared statement on the paper.
A little awkward.
Very awkward. I think it's hilarious. As people are walking by and nobody's even paying attention. It's like, no, whatevs. We're good. So I saw that. I thought that was very funny. Speaking of some of the other things that I'm seeing that are funny, I don't want to talk about Diddy, but I'm just going to bring this up. All right. So if people are asking and they care, I don't care about this. Diddy to me, and the things that I've heard about him, Sean P. Diddy, Combs, Puff Daddy, Diddy, that guy, some of the things that you've probably already heard about are disgusting. And I don't want to repeat some of the things, but obviously he was found guilty on 2 out of 5 charges today. Found guilty on 2 counts of transportation to engage in prostitution, while he has been found not guilty of 1 count of racketeering conspiracy and 2 counts of sex trafficking by force, fraud, or coercion. Cleared of the most serious charges, got down on his knees and expressed relief in the courtroom. Everybody was cheering and people were hugging and everything, which is very unusual for a courtroom. Like for the judge to allow all of that to take place. I don't want to go into the sordid, disgusting, horrific details of everything that was described and the things that he did and some of the things that were admitted to. And then after the fact, we find out that there were people on the... Dee, did you hear about what happened after the verdict came out and what they were doing on the streets in New York City?
No.
Yeah, well, let's just say there was... let's just say there was baby oil involved, and I'm just leaving it there. I'm not saying anything else. People acting sickly on the streets. But then we find this out. Okay, I'm just, all right, I'll just play this and then I want to move on. I don't want to get into this because people are like, is he going to get bail? Is he going to walk? Like, what happens next? All right, just a little while ago.
We're back with our breaking news. The judge in the Sean Diddy Combs trial has just rather shockingly denied him bail. This, of course, coming after the news that the jury convicted him of 2 of the lesser charges in the government's case against him, finding him not guilty of the 3 biggest and most consequential charges. Do we have Elizabeth Wagmeister yet? Okay, so
yeah, do we have to have them all there? Do we want to hear anything that they? All right, let her say a couple things.
Out.
Well, we are still learning all the reasons why the judge has denied bail to Sean Diddy Combs pending his sentence.
So pending his sentencing, he's been denied bail. Huh? I wonder why. I guess well, maybe we'll talk about it tomorrow. I don't know. It's just so sordid and so I just don't want to talk about it. I just don't. If you want to find out more, just look it up. It's ugly. So Diddy's request for release ahead of sentencing has been denied. It's going to remain behind bars for several more months until his sentencing date, to which time, I don't know what happens. But that's all I have for that one. All right, and a couple of other things I wanted to touch on before we hit the break. One, I didn't play this yet. All right. That's because it's kind of weird. Our, Dee's favorite guy here, seems like the same time every day I'm playing.
Holy Toledo.
The Holy Toledo guy, Harry Enton, is very surprised about how the Democrat Party has changed from support of Israel to support of the Palestinians. And he was doing a poll on this, and I just wanted to play a little bit of this because if you're wondering where the party stands, it may explain a little bit of why certain people are doing certain things within the party politically. Check this out.
Andrew Cuomo, during the primary, attacked Mamdani as being insufficiently pro-Israel. I'm not quite sure the former governor understood how much the politics have changed around this issue among Democrats. What are we talking about here? All right, who Democrats sympathize more with, Israelis or Palestinians? In 2017, the Democratic Party was a pro-Israeli party. Look at this. They sympathized with the Israelis by 13 points, more with the Israelis than the Palestinians. But look at this sea change. Now Democrats sympathize more with the Palestinians by 43 points. Oh, my God, that is a change in the margin of 56 points over the course of just 8 years. So all of a sudden, it's the pro-Palestinian position that actually reigns supreme in Democratic politics, not the Israeli position. And that is part of the reason why Mamdani was able to do so well in this primary, because those attacks over Israel, simply put, did not ring true for Democrats. They're now on the side of the Palestinians, not the Israelis.
Whoa. I didn't really see that one coming, but apparently that's where we are. And interestingly enough, the way the party goes is the way the politics will lean. And when you start to hear, and this is what I was saying before, now it makes so much sense. So much more sense? So much sense? D, so much sense or so much more sense? So much more sense.
Either.
Okay. Makes a lot of sense now of how the Mamdani guy, the communist, socialist, Marxist, and the things that he has been saying, why he would win, and taking some of what people have said are the most radical positions, and they'd be right, and yet still winning. You think you're going to hear less of the kind of communist, socialist, Marxist talk out of the party in the future? No. It's going to be quite the opposite. You think you don't recognize it. You're a Democrat in the state of Florida. You're like, I'm not really sure if I recognize the party. There's some things that's a little goofy. I'm not leaving because Trump, which is really weird for you. But anyway, I'm not leaving, but I'm not really sure. I mean, I'm still a Democrat. No, you're not. No, you're not. The party is extreme, communist, socialist, Marxist, left. And you don't have a home. But you're going to stick with it and keep voting for Democrats who are going to lean into some of the things that you're like, I'm not really sure. No. They're leaning in, and you're going to have to go along with it because you just can't step away from that D, can you? You should try to. You really should.
You're listening to Florida's Voice with Drew Steele.
Babes, what are you doing?
What? I'm just mowing the lawn.
No, it's blazing hot and dry out here. Don't you remember? Smokey Bear says.
Avoid using power equipment when it's windy or dry.
Where'd you learn this?
Oh, it's on
SmokeyBear.com with many other wildfire prevention tips.
Right. Thanks, honey bear.
Because remember, only you can prevent wildfires.
Brought to you by the USDA Forest Service, your state forester, and the Ad Council.
All right, son. Time to put out this campfire.
Dad, we learned about this in school.
Oh, did you now? Okay. What's first?
Smokey Bear said to.
First drown it with a bucket of water, then stir it with a shovel.
Wow, you sound just like him.
Then he said.
If it's still warm, then do it again.
Where can I learn all this?
It's all on SmokeyBear.com with other wildfire prevention tips, because only you can prevent wildfires.
Brought to you by the USDA Forest Service, your state forester, and the Ad Council.
You know, a lot of times you have to choose between something high quality or something that saves you money. But if you could get both, why not? Especially when it comes to health care, and that is MediShare. You get both. Many families save $500 a month with MediShare, and that's huge. But it's also true that people wind up way more satisfied, too. The member satisfaction rate for MediShare is double that of the typical health insurance plan. Double. That's because MediShare works. It has for more than 30 years. It's a community of Christians who have shared more than $5 billion of each other's bills. People love having telehealth. They love the huge PPO network. So, yeah, really, you can save a ton and like it better. Imagine being happy with how you're taking care of your health care. So if you're self-employed or part of the gig economy, or you just want a plan you're happy with, you can call right now and get a price in 2 minutes. Here's the number. Just call 855-SHARE-40. That's 855-SHARE 40. 855-SHARE-40.
Hey, it's Drew Steele. Look, if you're looking to take advantage of today's pro-business environment and strengthen your financial future, certified financial planner professional Alfie Townsend and his team at Advantage Retirement Group have got you covered. They specialize in advanced tax strategies, risk management, retirement planning, all aimed at helping high net worth investors like you thrive. Now, Alfie wants to share those insights with you with his book, Keeping You on the Retirement Fairway. It's packed with practical tips and forward-thinking strategies to help you make the most out of your hard-earned wealth. Ready to get your free copy? Text BOOK to 239-747-7470. That's 239-747-7470. Don't wait. Learn how to capitalize on that pro-business opportunities that are out there right now and secure the confident retirement you deserve. Once again, text BOOK to 239-747-7470 right now, and let Alfie Townsend and Advantage Retirement Group help guide you toward a stronger, more confident financial future.
We're with Bridget, whose husband won't be home for months, and whose daughter is due any day. We're with Mike, who's leaving home to protect his family and yours. We're with all service members and their families who need community, connection, and maybe a bit of magic. Are you with them? Learn more at USO.org today. We're with Liam after his 4th military move, when being new is starting to get old. We're with Tara during the holidays, when she misses home the most. We're with all service members and their families who need connection, comfort, and a home away from home. Are you with them? Learn more at USO.org today.
Florida's Voice with Drew Steele.
Hey, don't forget, if you want to check out the show after hours, whenever you would like, you can go to my website, drewsteele.com. Steele has 3 E's. If you go there, you can obviously check out the show. You can listen to it, and you can also check out the podcast, because right there it'll tell you, the podcast is there on the website, but you can also go to your favorite spot location where you enjoy podcasts. Just look for Florida's Voice with Drew Steele. You'll see it, and you can check out the program at your convenience, keeping an eye on the OBBB and seeing where we stand and things that are changing. Trying to get a hold of Eric Doherty in the Florida's Voice newsroom. Just wondering, he's not there in the moment here. I don't know where he's at, but obviously busy checking out everything that's going on. He said Congressman Warren Davidson, Republican of Ohio, who was a no on the first big, beautiful bill, flipped to a yes. So that is a huge development there. So I wonder if there's anything else that's going on. And then after all this, you wonder how, when all of this is said and done, and then the results of what will be the one big beautiful bill, if passed, in whatever iteration it is, and then trusting the process, how things are going to look into the future. Because if you ask Elon Musk, it's like it's going to be a disaster, to the point where he says he would like to start up a political party, America Party, and thinking about launching it. And I just saw this, that 40% of voters said they're likely to support Elon Musk's America Party if he decides to launch it. Is this Eric? Is he on with us right now? Eric, is that you? Are you hearing me? Eric Doherty? Are you there? Oh, I thought that was him. I guess not. Oh, well. Too bad. I thought that was him. Maybe he was calling in. If that's you, call back. I don't know what happened to the phone line, but it is him. Okay, I don't know what happened. I couldn't hear him. All he had to do was, all right, let's see. Eric, is that you? Can you hear me okay? You're on the air. You're live.
Hey.
There you are. Okay. Hey, bud, I just wanted to find out real quick. Eric Doherty, by the way, Assistant News Director here at Florida's Voice. Can you give me an update? Like, what are you seeing, what you're hearing about right now with the OBBB? Where are we at?
Yeah, so it's a very fluid situation. We did just have, I believe, as you covered, Davidson of Ohio. He actually voted no on the first House version of the bill. They then sent that bill to the Senate. The Senate changed it. It's now back in the House, and he flipped to a yes.
Nice.
And so that's a pretty good sign. Not too long ago, we had Don Bacon of Nebraska, who is obviously, he's retiring. He's had his issues with Trump. He is a yes. And Mike Johnson said just a little bit ago that, I mean, it might be a late night, but he thinks that they can get the job done tonight. It might be late from what I'm seeing right now from various sources such as Fox News and Punchbowl, who obviously they have people inside the Capitol getting a lot of real-time information. But they're still trying to get the last couple of votes right now on the floor, I believe. Yeah, they're at 216 yays. And so the way this works is this is just the rule for them to move forward with the bill. And if I'm not mistaken, I think that they have a round of debate that they have to go through. So even if this rule passes, it's not over yet. And they're going to have to probably have a late night, and it might even go into tomorrow morning technically. But Mike Johnson said he does want to get this done tonight so that they can get it to the president's desk by Friday.
Right. I mean, that's the plan, right? They want this to be something that he would sign July 4th. You could just see that happening. It's something the president wants. They want to be able to deliver it. So hopefully they'll be able to do it. And we'll see. All right. So we'll check out how things go through the evening. So it's going to be, well, I feel bad for you. It's going to be a late night for you, sir. I think you already know.
Yeah, we will see. Hopefully they get it done quick. But honestly, I'm probably not going to hold my breath because Congress can be crazy. And for all I know, they're not going to even get it done tonight.
Yeah.
So.
All right, my friend. I'll see you later, okay?
All
Thanks
right.
for the
See you,
update.
Drew.
All right. Eric Doherty, our own Eric Doherty there in Florida's Voice. All right, listen, we'll see you tomorrow.
You're listening to Florida's Voice with Drew Steele.
It's 4 a.m., Monday, and you're literally sucking baby snot through a tube because she's congested. Man, that's love. And if you love her that much, love her enough to make sure she's buckled in the right car seat. To make sure your child's in the right seat for their age and size, visit nhtsa.gov/the right seat. Show them you love them. Keep them safe. Visit nhtsa.gov/the right seat. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council. You let him try violin because you love him. And if you love him that much, love him enough to make sure he's buckled up and in the back seat. Find out more at nhtsa.gov/the right seat. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
I don't think that many kids in my son's school even do it.
No way.
No way. No way. No way. My kid would never vape.
Get your head out of the cloud. Talk to your kid about vaping. Visit talkaboutvaping.org.
You're listening to Florida's Voice with Drew Steele.